like that, we are back. It is Unpacked, presented to you by the To Be Fair Show and
the G Shit Podcast.
All right. We had a 3-man weave going last week. Now we got 4 out. We got Johnny back with us. Got a great conversation. DEI. We're gonna talk about it. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Who's impacted the most? Do black men lose in this whole process regardless? I don't know. It's a lot of questions around the conversation of DEI. But before we get there, I love to introduce this fire panel. G, talk to him.
What's good, everybody? It's G, host of the G Shit Podcast, where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and fuck everything else. Check that out wherever you get your podcast. Just search GSHPOD. Hi.
Below, we have FBA's own David Walker. Talk to him.
What's good? Just a guest on the show here for another opportunity to intellectually spar with the homies. Love the debate, so I look forward to doing this every week. Shout out to the regulars in the chat. Hit the likes, hit the comments. We'll engage with the chat. Look forward to another good conversation.
Yes, sir. And he had a PTO last week, but he back with us. Johnny, talk to him.
Oh yeah, glad to be back. I missed a good one last week. Y'all go check out last week. Host of the To Be Fair Show. You can catch me every Sunday, 4:30-ish, right here on the To Be Fair page. Me, Q, and Rail, we just chop it up. I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to another great conversation. Missed y'all boys last week.
Gotcha. Johnny, so I think we got about 3 icebreakers before we really dive into the conversation. Again, chat, make sure y'all hop in. And we got a couple in there early. Johnny, I think you had a question for Trey.
Yeah. No, I was just because I missed last week, so I wanted to hop in because me Trey the homie. That's big bro from way back. But my question was based on the FBA, because you done woke me up to this FBA stuff over the last couple months in the lineage. I look at the lineage and I'm like, yeah, that's an actual great argument outside of race. But when it comes to lineage and we talking about like white women, Hispanic women exploring options and stuff, where does that come in as far as like the importance of lineage when deciding a partner versus like if you're gonna push that next generation, wouldn't you want it to be full FBA, or does that even matter if we talk about dating? And I dibbled and dabbled too, but when we talk about white women, Hispanic women, these Asian women, like where does the dilution of the lineage come into that?
It's a good question.
First off, I want to say, as I said, man, got to be hundreds of times in the chat at this point. My views on FBA and everything like that is completely separate from my views on the stuff with gender. So it's a totally separate argument. So as far as so it's difficult to like marry the two together, because I don't want to speak on I want to speak on the topics and say things that are like off code with that movement, because it really has nothing to do with
but who you date does impact the
I ain't trying to pin you to the wall, Trey. I get it. But
that's not FBA.
Pause. Whoa, that was very aggressive, Johnny P. Very aggressive.
My bad.
Oh Lord.
Now that was a wild one, actually. Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
I apologize, fellas. My bad.
Easy.
He trying to pin you to the wall is different.
Oh Lord.
Whew.
Hey, I'm gonna shut up. I'm done.
Yeah, see, God don't like ugly with them trick bag questions, bro.
Okay, hey, so next week we actually have a conversation that'll kind of circle around this a little bit more, where we have a panelist that's not here this week that really want to join in, so we're gonna kind of push pause on that. But with that said, I'm gonna go to one of our first icebreakers. This one kind of just popped up impromptu, But we didn't have some discussion about this right here. I don't know if y'all can see this chat. Let me try and make it a little bit bigger. Amazingly, this sparked an interesting enough debate in the chat. It says, men, delete one forever. Chat, talk to us. What y'all deleting? You got football, sex, music, women, money, water, and weed.
Football got to be the one to go, Trey. Like it got to go. Like,
I'm not really big on weed, so.
I mean, we can't hear you.
I can enjoy all those things together at the same time, except for football.
But if it was basketball, though, y'all would have a different. It would be a different.
No, basketball have to go on compared to that list too.
Yeah, like, if that's the list, basketball. I don't know if it.
No, for me, I would keep basketball. I would keep basketball and go away with weed. But between weed and football, I don't watch football at all. I don't really smoke weed, but I can enjoy a good time with the football. I literally just don't watch it no more. I kind of lost interest.
Could you put a list
one? Neither one of them I really care about heavily. You said what?
Can you show the list again one more time?
Yeah, football.
Okay. Football, sex, music, women, money, water, weed. Chat, what y'all thinking?
I mean, first and the last one are the only negotiables.
Yeah, if you eliminate football, it's a vibe. Right then and there, you got the music playing, ladies,
you can make it rain on them.
Like, come on, you eliminate football, all that together is a vibe.
Money, women, sex, music, yeah.
But I guess you rather watch you rather watch Bryce Young, huh?
I mean, I'd rather watch the Super Bowl. I'd rather give up. I don't want to give up the Super Bowl and the playoffs, the college football playoffs coming up. That's going to be exciting. And then like the whole ritual where we get together.
Football is only for one part of the year. Football's from August to January, and then like the rest of the year, like you just don't have either. But like 365.
Well, listen again. If it's basketball, I know I'm taking basketball. That's a guarantee.
It's just because of weed, bro. I'm not. It's not that I'm really big on football. It's just that I'm not really pressed on weed, bro. Like I think especially we need to have a clear mind as in our situation.
I understand that, but in June, you ain't no football to watch. Like you can roll one up at the cookout, but you can't really like do no football. That's what I'm saying. Weed is just more.
You can't do football at the cookout, bro. With the ball, throwing, play some all-time quarterback.
My uncle pull a hammy. Them kids go end up knocking. Nah, weed and smoke. It's just more universal. Like I get it. I like football too. We from football to the USA. I love football, but like there's times of the year where I have to go without football.
Oh, damn, anyway. You from Football City and you saying weed?
Football.
That's crazy, bro. So what about pick up in the yard when you growing up and you get to play with the homies and everything?
So like if we taking it that far, it's guaranteed to be weed.
Bro, when the last time you played football in a yard?
Never. Last time
I'm talking about for the kids, though.
I'm talking about reality. When was the last time you ever played football in a yard? Like
kids play every day. I'm not quit being selfish, bro. I know you like your tree, man. I'm talking about.
I thought it was.
Now the question says men. It says men.
Now it's a list for society. Now it's a list. I thought it was just your own personal list. Now you want to make it about the kids. Come on, bro.
Need to be on.
That's why. That's the way I viewed it.
Because sex probably wouldn't be on there for the kids either.
Yes, and
I mean, but I thought
this not a society. This is your own personal. Just if you could eliminate one of those things. Look, I get it, bro. You like
rolled up necessities and vices all together.
Yeah, it's still, man. Like I know it's not just for. I think I wouldn't say it's for the kids or it's for society or anything like that. I'm talking about just the things in general. If you take away football, you take away for everybody, the adults and the kids. If you take away weed, you take away for everybody. That's how I'm looking at it from that perspective, not like the NFL. I'm just talking about the item in itself and everything it includes. So if you take away football, that's like you take away like sports for the kids too. Like, dang, bro, just so you can smoke, that's crazy.
No, but you act like, all right, if you want to take it there, you act like marijuana ain't medication. You gonna take away people's medication. Everybody not using marijuana to smoke. It's edibles, it's CBD. It's all types of use cases for marijuana, but you want to minimize it to smoking. I mean, I just think that's narrow-minded.
I could see if it's medicinal because there's CBD as well.
He was ignorant, man.
And I think there's ways you can get what if it's just getting high from weed and we can leave medicinal? Then do you still have the same position?
See, the thing is, you act like getting high ain't
King J, this is the
medicinal.
question
You know
right
what I'm
now.
saying? Like that's what I'm saying. It's like the high is the medicine, my brother. If you don't understand it, you don't understand it. But like that's the medicine. Like that's the thing. It's like I don't see weed as one of these things to be having niggas strung out, bro. It's not like it's pills
some
or
niggas do act a little different on some weed. I ain't gonna
but
lie.
strung out like
I ain't gonna say that they strung out.
Yeah, they're not robbing liquor stores so they can have some weed money.
They're not. Yeah, they're not robbing their auntie to go get a Nick or an A somewhere. Like it just ain't that serious, bro. You know.
Nah, I dig it. Again, if we just broaden it to sports, then to me,
and I love the edibles.
Be the first one to go out. I have to agree with FBA Trey on this one.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
I love the edibles.
Yeah, I dig it. Like I mean, because and Fat Boy kind of hit it on the head. Like the Panthers suck right now. It's like
so. What if we talking 2016, 15-1 Panthers? Superman Dab City Panthers.
Oh, you talking about Dab City? I might put the L down for Dab City Panthers. Like, cause that was a run. Like that was historic. I get it, but Bryce Young and them boys, roll up.
All right, so I guess this is somewhat a perfect segue for the next icebreaker. In recent news, there's a kid. Shout out Dion. Shout out Colorado. I think is it legal over there? Medical and recreational use.
Recreation.
There's a young boy in
shout out that boy
in Boulder, Colorado, that is going through a time on the internet. So I'll push play in a couple of these. We've matter of fact, I'm gonna actually let Trey introduce the topic and we kind of see where he wants to go with it. Push play.
He doesn't drink. And I'm Hispanic, so I have tequila like in my veins. So I drink. I don't drink a lot, but I drink and I party and stuff. And he would literally drive me, sit outside for hours while I'm inside like partying, and then take us home. Like he never tried to be like, oh, just because I drink, you can't drink, or you can't hang out with your friends, or you can't,
Shame.
Oh my bad.
We're about another dude relationship. Y'all single. You ain't never had no girl. So why y'all talking about me?
Let me rewind this for y'all.
You ain't never talked to him in person. You ain't never talked to me in person. So stop being a fake supporter and stop being. Why you weren't? All you dudes worry about another dude relationship. Y'all single. You ain't never had no girl. So why y'all talking about me? Find something else to talk about. Talk about my girl. Go talk about your girl. Go find a girl. Go find a life. Don't worry about what I got going on. I know what I got. I know my girl. My girl been with me for 5 years. Y'all are just not starting to talk about me and just not starting to be with me. Porter, someone to let the internet trolls, get her out of her body. And I hope she see this message in the morning. So, y'all, sinister. I love you, Leona. I hope you see this in the morning. My fans, my real fans support you. And the people that's hating, we just gonna let them hate. We got the real family over here, and we know how that goes. Like Rod said, man.
Damn, I ain't see that full clip. He has a strategic Heisman placement.
Oh yeah,
which is wild. Damn, he said, send this to her when she sees this in the morning. I love you, Lena. That was wild behavior. So in recent news, there's been a couple different incidents. There was him had a big game, and there was a scenario on the sideline where it didn't look like she was.
I had that clip in there too.
Let me see if I can. I'm gonna just click the next one. Okay, I see. Let me try and get this one.
Lynn, you got the best man in football, girl. Get me some keys. Why is she upset? Lynn, you got the best man in football, girl. Get me some keys. Why is she upset? Here at Folsom Field at home. Not his stomach hurt.
We ain't got to watch his post game interview, but damn, she said now his stomach hurt. That's crazy. So you had scenario. i.e. like that, where came off the field, had an amazing game, didn't give him a kiss. I think that they were having a sit-down interview together. She said that he wasn't her type or something like that. What else was it? Obviously she said that she used to make him sit outside the club and be her designated driver, and she'd be in there partying for hours because she got tequila in her veins or something like that.
The best athlete in the country.
Yeah, at that.
I mean, like that one, so I could understand because like I ain't tripping on that one as much, especially if you like if you gonna smash, like you just waiting to get your shorty and you coming home, like you picking her up.
But I'm sorry, like, I'm not waiting outside the club for 4 hours.
I don't believe he did that. I don't believe he was sitting in the car for 3. I don't believe.
All I'm saying,
he might have dropped the off. He might have dropped the off, went to go do what he was gonna do, and then came back, and he was not sitting out the club. I don't believe that.
But you need to say that. No, why she say it? Why she know that? That's not a flattery. That's not a comment to say about your guy.
Like, she said that he was a cheater. She said a couple different things.
I ain't taking up for Shorty at all, neither.
Trey, I guess I would love for you to navigate this first and throw us to where you would like us to go to. I don't want to misrepresent what the masses are taking from these videos of
the masses of you. Like, I think we this is just another example of how kind of simping is become a part of FBA culture, man.
You think he represents all FBAs?
FBA culture.
I think.
Or is this FBAs that like football culture?
Oh, that's just like one dude. That's
what you meant by football culture? Or are you talking about like foundation of Black Americans? You're saying that what he's doing is indicative of what most Black men in America do?
I wouldn't say most Black men.
By simping?
It's hard to say most because the best part about this situation is that it seems like we're all in a general consensus that what he's doing is ridiculous and clownish behavior.
So when you say it's FBA culture, what do you mean by that?
I think previously we have a lot of history of accepting behaviors that you don't see other men accept. And it's good to see us
like that.
I don't know, man. It seems like
no, this is an exception. That's what we're talking about. It's not a lot of FBA dudes going out like that. That's why we're talking about.
What about
especially with his profile? I mean, he's like, millions of dollars.
Pat Papoose chose what he chose. Like, he went.
She went
from Remy.
She was shooting women in the projects.
Remy Ma to Clarissa Shields. Like, he likes what he likes.
Oh yeah, that part.
Like, think about who he's dating now. Like, that's just what he likes. Like, I can't take up. Do you, Papoose?
And I guess I'm seeing some FBA in the chat, and they're speaking about him crashing out for an exotic. For a woman that clearly doesn't say that she likes him. I know we've had some conversation that have been based around the idea of leaving Black women to kind of teach them a lesson or something like that.
I wouldn't say that. I think you always mischaracterize that. If you want me to clarify,
that's like the exact way that you say it, because you say it.
No, it's not that way. I said.
Right, tell me if this is
what's the word that starts with
of
a G? What's the word that starts with a G that I always include that statement that you always omit?
Do you want me to say gynocracy?
Gynocracy. That's my.
Yes.
So where do you want me to put that in that statement?
Because when you said
gynocracy,
you said to leave women, I said to leave. No, I didn't say leave Black women. I said gynocratic Black women. And I think we do have a problem with gynocracy in our culture. When you take that word gynocratic, it makes it sound as though I'm talking about just because they're being Black. And I've gone out of my way multiple times to let you know that's not the case. So it's like you're intentionally mischaracterizing what I'm saying.
Well, listen, you have so many prerequisites.
I consistently say gynocratic.
Hold on.
I consistently say gynocratic, bro.
Okay, Trey. So what's the difference between gynocratic Black women and then
the majority of Black women?
Gynocratic Black, or like who are you? Like, what is an example of gynocratic Black and then non-gynocratic Black women?
I'll say an example of a non-gynocratic Black woman. Oh,
this is the can. These are the worms. It's opening. Go ahead.
Even Michelle Obama is gynocratic.
All right. So in general, you're saying that this represents the majority of Black women or gynocratic Black women?
Our culture is a gynocracy, so it's difficult.
So is that yes or no?
Oh, what's that person that I put in the chat who was talking about accountability? And I said, this is a Queen Mother Goddess right here. That's an example of a non-gynocratic black woman. Another example is Simone Biles.
I know. Okay.
So I don't think you should leave women like Simone Biles just because she's black, because you're trying to make it seem.
No, I got you. So, but you are saying like the majority of black women are gynocratic black women.
I would say the majority of black men are gynocratic men.
You're still not answering the question that I asked with the yes or no. You always talk to me about answering the direct question that you're asking.
Because it's a bad faith question, because you're trying to make me seem like I'm beating up on women when I have that same energy for men.
I wasn't saying that. I really was only trying to say that your strategy, and it's always interesting because usually when you say it, you don't put the word gynocratic in there. Like I see you just put BW all the time. You don't put like gynocratic BWs or nothing like that. So then when I repeat that exact same way you phrase
I don't say gynocratic. I don't say gynocratic.
No, every time you talk about leaving BWs, as in black women, you do not.
I don't put gynocratic. So, G, would you say I don't mention gynocratic?
I didn't say that you don't ever mention it. I said usually when you're using your own statements.
Generally, I read the chat a lot. And that BW, BM, like that should be confusing the shit out of me sometimes. I'll be having.
Can it be isolated by itself like a motherfucker?
No. I say gynocratic a lot too, don't I? Or you don't even know that. Thank you. Thank you, John.
But every time you talk about black women as a whole, you don't refer to them as you refer to them as like, because like you say, most of them are in the gynocratic.
But let's move this back on the rails. Let's move this back on the rails. It's talking about mixed breeding with exotics was, I think.
You got trailed off.
We was talking about the fact that this man is crashing out. He's interbreeding with an exotic.
I don't think it has anything to do with her being an exotic as much as it has to do with him being a simp. Because if she was exotic and he wasn't simping, it wouldn't be a problem. Or if he was with a black woman and he was simping, it would still be a problem. But I think you're trying to crowbar this into it, this racial thing, because you're trying to put the cape on for for women, and trying to say I'm only
the cape on, nigga.
You're putting the cape on because the problem is him simping, and you're trying to crowbar in the racial.
Nobody said, yo, we agree. What are you talking about? Where's the
I don't think anybody said anything positive about it.
You're saying simping is FBA culture, and I think that's where we disagree. I don't think simping is FBA culture, but you saying that it is.
Yep. FBA don't.
I think we do have a lot of big mama worship in black culture. No other culture has a big mama type situation. The men kind of do what they want.
Well, their culture won't slaves in America, though. That's where our big mamas derive from.
FBA men.
Okay, I said that's where it comes. That's where it comes from.
Say that though, like FBA men, like none of the FBA men right here are with that.
That's questionable.
None of us are with it, bro. Yeah. We are all like, we all just came together and was like, nah, that's some bullshit. Like we all was like on a united front about how much bullshit that was. This FBA men right here.
I think y'all are gynocrats, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of female worship type deal where
I do. I love pussy though.
And like, bro, and the other thing is like I said multiple times too. I love black women. I hate the gynocracy, but it seems like you can't. You seem like you're saying that black women and the gynocracy are inseparable. And my point is, it's not inseparable. But the only way it can be separable is if we collectively, as black men, say no more with the gynocracy, and that's what I want to go with. But I think you're doing kind of like you're enabling by acting as if the issue doesn't exist. I think black women would be better without the gynocracy, and that's my goal. That's what I would like to have. But you're trying to tell me that there is no gynocracy.
You talking about me or who?
All of y'all. Y'all are gaslighting when it comes to the gynocracy.
Dog, you are funny. Like nobody.
I'm dead serious, man.
This nigga just became enemy of the stage. Like all y'all niggas is talking like nobody.
It just made up a narrative. Like, nobody's saying it.
And I thought you was talking about me. I didn't say none of that.
Nobody's defending gynocracy.
I ain't say none of that.
Or
man.
simping. Like, yo, can we get back to the
We
jokes
just
on this
bash-
nigga or what? Like,
Like, we just bash simping, and then you just say we're gynocrats.
Right
Like,
now, because right now y'all trying to frame me as if I'm trying to attack black women. In reality,
nobody
what I'm
did
trying-
that, bro. Trey,
At all.
I think you. Hey, look, somebody.
That's a hit dog.
Hit dogs. Yeah, hit dogs. Hit dogs. Hit dogs. Something struck a nerve, boy. I don't know what it was, but
you
I didn't even say anything besides what
black
I've
women.
heard.
You didn't mention the gynocracy. My problem is the gynocracy.
I also didn't
not
even
black
put
women.
your name to the POV that I was
But,
describing.
I mean, I know you're right, but I know who you were talking about. You were talking about
All
me,
I
right?
said is that recently we've
talking about
had
me, though.
conversations about
Why
black
you
men
playing dumb, bro?
wanting
You were
exotic
talking about
women.
me, but you're like, I didn't say your name though, but you know you're talking about me, but you didn't say my name, so I'm not supposed to respond to it.
Right, but
Like,
but
whoa,
all I
quit being
did,
slick.
but the thing is that I didn't even get into like making a point. All I said was black men leaving black women for exotic women or other women. That was as far as I went.
Oh well, I don't think black men should leave black women for exotic women unless they're gynocrats. If they're gynocrats, then you should most definitely leave them.
You wouldn't say find non-gynocratic black women first.
I think a lot of them are they get scooped up quick.
So you're saying it's a matter of just numbers. The non-gynocratic are just taken, and so
Yeah. I don't
Ain't no
think
good
you're
black
right.
women outside.
Niggas
That's
go
pretty much
to
what
Did
he
I,
said.
exotic like
hey,
Utah.
Q, did I say there aren't any good black women, or did you?
Hey,
It's like
That's what I'm
it's
talking
real
about,
minimum.
bro.
My bad. It's
That's
minimum.
that's the
he's
thing
saying
I'm
there
talking
are
about.
no
Right
non-gynocratic black women.
No non-gynocratic good black women. My bad. You're right. You're right.
You just adding words into it. I know y'all are joking and everything, but I never said
All
there
right,
are no
so
good black women, bro. That's crazy.
True. I think that you're saying that there's minimal inside the scope of the population of black women. There's minimal amount that are left outside. A lot of the good ones have been scooped up, and then there's a whole bunch that's gynocratic, and then there's like a slither. I'm guessing that you're saying. Is that what you're saying? Like maybe you could tell me what you're
I don't
saying.
like using the word good or bad, bro. I would just say gynocratic and leave it there because you start throwing the words like good and everything like that. That's like kind of, man. I want to say they're not good.
If most women are
Not for
gynocratic
me.
and most men are gynocratic, then why are these gynocratic bitches single?
Why are they single?
If most men is gynocratic too,
I don't know.
they should be bowing down, falling in line.
I don't know, man. I guess because a lot of the stuff is easier said than done. Where they may.
That's a good question,
They may.
Steve.
That's what I'm saying. It don't add up. It can't be that black men are all these gynocratic men and there's all these gynocratic women, but yet they the most quote unquote single out of all the women with the most gynocratic male population. Like that don't add up.
Because gynocratic men also aren't like the most. I don't know if they're the most like competitive men anyway, because no women really want them anyway, because they're kind of like the opposite of like alpha. You know, like the pandering type dude, that's a gynocrat. I don't think women really want them, and just like that's what it is. They end up kind of fighting over the men who aren't that way, and they end up single. So I think a lot of these gynocratic men, they're not like able to attract.
So you don't think? So you're saying gynocratic women aren't attracted to gynocratic men? Is what you're saying?
Right? Because they know it's just pandering at the end of the day. Nobody. And you know what I mean? It's like you're not gonna Queen Mother Goddess your way into.
You think that's an issue
draws.
in our community that we're not attracted to each other?
Like
on a wholesale level, I don't agree with that.
I don't know if I say.
And then
that,
wouldn't it just mean that like a real man would put a gynocratic female in a place and then she'll love him?
Right, like
instead of leaving, you would just like put her in a place.
Basically, in theory, the niggas that's married is really like the true non-gynocratic niggas out there, because that's
not really.
According to your logic, it is though, because that's what they bow down to. Like you said, they only attracted to real niggas.
No, because if you can't be on the happy wife, happy life stuff and then not be a gynocrat.
But you said that's pandering. They're not attracted to that,
and they don't like that.
If they actually with a real one, then toast to the real niggas out there. Then right? That's what we're saying.
I mean, this could be a messy situation because, like, look at the divorce rate too. Because getting married don't mean staying married. So I do think that if we get rid of it,
I'm like, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good rebuttal.
I think if we got rid of gynocracy, we'd see more happy marriages.
But
that's fair.
What about the fact that other races have similar divorce rates that you don't say are as gynocratic?
It's pretty much it. It's about 50%.
It's 50-50 across the board. So even the quote unquote non-gynocratic races still.
Hey fellas, we are actually having. Hey fellas, I want to give Trey the option to answer this question real quick, but we're kind of having the conversation for next week right now.
Okay, yeah.
So I want to button it. We'll throw back to Travis Hunter. But before I throw to Trey for this question,
you probably give us something fresh to clown them on between now and then. Too.
Probably. But I'll ask y'all this really quickly. Let's get back to the fun. Over under 3 years with the what is her name? Lena the Latina. What are y'all doing? Over under 3 years with Lena the Latina.
3 years in the league.
Where y'all putting your bets?
I'm taking
years in the league, right?
Under.
What city he get drafted to?
So depending on what city. Okay.
I got a question. Was she born in America or not?
I think no idea.
She was born. Okay, under.
Okay. Oh, because you don't need that. I see what.
That's a stripping name.
I got to shoot Travis a little bell though, because look, man,
I'm giving it soon. Like
you can just kind of look at him and tell he, maybe he's still growing into his face or something. I don't know. He's not the most like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
all right. So I know y'all do this
like
when y'all
he's still maturing a little bit. He still ain't filled out all the way his features. It's like, so he still got some growing.
Hey, like, he do look like an Omega. I ain't gonna lie. Like
and a young nigga like that, man.
Tall hat on top of it.
Everybody knows what's up his stomach.
But here's my question. I know FBA, y'all do the hairline check. There's no way he passes then, right? The forehead check.
His hairline. I only see him with his hairline.
My bad. My bad. I think they say like forehead. I see that thrown out sometimes too.
It's not Stephen A. hairline or nothing like that.
It's just it's real tall.
I ain't really paid too much attention to
I don't know what his hairline like either.
All right.
Yeah. So you can pull up a picture.
I got you.
I wish you. I don't know, man. I wish we could not claim him with the way on the simp and everything, but I don't know.
But you got to shoot him a little bit, man, because how old is he? 20, 21, 22, right? Like, so you got
to I ain't mad at it. Yeah.
Ain't now one joint had you tripping at 21, 22, like something had you spinning.
Opinion on it when I see it. It's pure blood FBA lineage.
I mean, Trey, I don't want to put your business out, but you did admit you had a pass. I just want to say, had a pass, had to learn. Everybody niggas gotta learn the hard way sometimes, man. He ain't learned yet. He gonna.
We need to see him with the dreads pulled back.
Life gonna get him.
I never had nobody like disrespect me, especially in the open like that, man.
Especially not nobody from no other culture thing like them. Yeah, I'd be damned if some Hispanic one.
No, that's a big fact. Right?
Yeah, like, John know my history. John, you ain't never seen me go out like that. Like not you would have said something.
John know my body. Tell him, dog.
Not with
John
them
even like Trey ain't finna play with him.
You asked me something in the chat earlier, and I said, yeah, it'd have been wise.
I'm glad that part muted out whatever Johnny's saying. Johnny, we can't hear you, brother. Oh, can y'all hear Johnny?
No.
Okay. Yeah, you muted out when you said the best part.
Your cord unplugged or something, bro.
Yeah, something happened. Yeah, we can hear you now. No, now we can't hear you again. Now we can hear you.
Hold on, my shit tangled.
We can hear you again now. All right.
All
right. So Trey, I did want to allow you to answer that question. Let me see if I can find it.
Do we want relationships like white people?
Yeah. I'll toss that to you, and then we can kind of move on to the conversation.
I think that we need to be more patriarchal, if that's what you mean, where the warrior class needs to be in a leadership position versus we shouldn't elevate our women into the.
Wait, what's the question here?
Should black people have relationships like white folk? Should black folk strive to have relationships like white folk?
If you mean, I'm saying if you mean that we should be more patriarchal.
I wonder how white folks have relationships.
Are we talking about nuclear family and less broken homes, or like what do you mean?
Is that how we look at white folk relationships?
Yeah, I don't know how we look at white families.
That's why I'm asking.
That's a good question. But except for the patriarchal aspect of it, where I think they're less matriarchal than us.
All white cultures aren't patriarchal, bro. A lot of white cultures, the women is running the household.
Karens are matriarch. That's a matriarchal society. When we talk about the Karen and low haircut,
I feel like happy wife, happy life is more of
the Jewish
a
community. Women
thing.
are very much like the running the household. I know that's for sure. I think you could also
the household is different. I'm talking about like out there in the world too. Like because the woman is supposed to be across the household, but as far as the warrior class, I think only black people like. As far as like our politicians,
women aren't warriors. Though.
I'm saying I don't think our women are the warrior class. Like that's a movie, nigga. That's what's her name? That's Viola Hill or what is her name?
The Woman King.
Yeah, like that's just that's a
Dina, the warrior princess.
Like if you think about like our warrior class, it's them YNs in Chicago. There ain't no women out there.
And
let's just bring mine.
You talking about Anglo-Saxons, and I think the Anglo-Saxons are definitely patriarchal.
Oh yeah, you talk. Really that's where I say, they got queens that be running shit, but we ain't gonna get into that.
Queens don't run.
The most famous.
Y'all had the 30-minute
that convo.
Yeah. What about the Kardashians? Like that's a white family, and that was very matriarchal.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like it represents a lot of America. Like, and that's like you see what happens.
It represents a lot of America.
As far as our society,
I just don't think our black women are the warrior class. I think I just don't agree with that. Like
they aren't the warrior class, but I think they try to put them in that role. I think that's why a lot of times they get elevated into positions of power because they'd rather deal with them versus deal with our actual warrior class. Like how they wanted a black woman in the Supreme Court. I want a black first lady, even though like she wasn't really of our lineage. But it seems like they're going out of their way to elevate black women, and then they kind of go out of their way to target black men. And I think that's because they want to have us at odds.
Hey, like TB or June, like we say that now, but like if we look at our granddaddies and our great grandfathers, and we look at some of them communities in Tulsa and stuff, that wasn't built on matriarchal society. Like a lot of that was built on the men of those communities being leaders and stepped up, and so we have a history of a patriarchal society.
When were black women ever under our leadership?
I just said back in Durham in the 1940s in Greenwood, you had
workforce.
Tulsa.
Right. So that was good. That was good, right?
Weren't based on matriarchal society. That was patriarchal. So we have a history.
That was good in the 40s. But what is
that was FBA stuff though. That was before a lot of these tethers and.
But what is it now though? You're making my point though, because back then it was more of a patriarchal with the Gervy.
I think a lot of that is still there. Like I think a lot of it gets drowned out. But we on a pod with 4 FBA dudes, and we speaking of patriarchy, we talking about the simping, and like there's still that is still existing. They might have tried to drown it out. They might have tried to hide it. But to say that's not a part of our culture now I think it's crazy, because you look at your father and my father, and like our families were patriarchal families and stuff. So to say that's not part of our culture, that's crazy.
I don't want to criticize like my family like on the public or say anything critical about them. So I just want to keep it more like general. But I think most of the time the best example I could think of is when it's Michelle Obama versus Hillary Clinton, where Hillary Clinton accepted all this dirt and kept their mouth shut, where Obama didn't do any dirt, but Michelle Obama still talked about she couldn't stand them for part of their marriage. Like that was.
But this nigga wrote in a book, according to you, that he would fantasize about men, and that if that's really true, then all is fair game. I mean,
she probably don't. She probably can't.
If she know that this nigga been dreaming about men. I think that's a very fair criticism, bro. Like, can we give the FBA sisters some credit for like The
Not
fact
saying
that
There you go. There you go with that cape on, bro.
you
we
no,
give the
because you want
FBA
to
some
fight for
credit
the
now. Let's go.
you prefer
Like,
see because it's interesting that
But
you
he's
like
a
to
tether, though,
you like to
Trey.
tear
Like,
down the
he's a
half
tether.
breeds, but then you like to stand up for
Obama
them at
would
the
be a
same
tether.
time.
So, like,
You choose Obama over Michelle is what you saying. I'm just picking the
But
home
Obama's
team.
a
Is all
tether.
I'm saying. Can we stand up for the
It's
home
another
team?
good point right here.
I'm
Michelle
just saying,
Obama gave up her career to follow that nigga.
situation.
What are we
You want to
talking about?
defend
But she
the
got
outside.
on the world stage and criticized him and said she couldn't stand him during her marriage.
But who is he? Why do we care about him?
A tether.
But I think you're conflating.
Why can't she
issues.
criticize this nigga? Don't this nigga deserve criticizing?
Well, Michelle Obama is a foundational Black American, so she's still an example of the matriarchal culture as a foundational Black American. So,
but she followed her man.
She also criticized.
She left her career to follow a man.
Her man was the president.
She also publicly criticized him after everything she did.
He was the president.
He did it for the legacy.
Like,
he did.
Michelle Obama's
so
not
you're not
publicly.
But then you can't put that on like FBA culture. Like white women criticize the hell out of patriarchy.
Hillary Clinton didn't do that. Right now, no, it's not about that. We're comparing Hillary Clinton to Michelle Obama right now because they're both two examples of first ladies. And we can give other examples of first ladies of white women. I've never heard a white first lady criticize her husband in public, but I did hear Michelle Obama kind of speak about him with contempt.
Did you hear other presidents write in their memoirs that they dream about?
I've heard Ivanka Trump criticize Trump. What are you talking about?
I'm not aware of Ivanka.
You mean Melania?
Yeah, Melania. Yeah, my bad. His current wife.
I'm not aware of that. Well,
I think that aren't they about to get a divorce? Like she kind of don't even be on the.
But why don't you support your own FBA people in this situation?
It's not about supporting, bro. This is the thing, bro. It's like whenever you have a critique of a Black woman, like people like you and people in the chat, they always jump into why. Oh, you hate the Black women. Oh, why don't you? She's a Black woman. It's like, bro, I'm trying
to figure out why you love Obama. Like, why are you defending Obama? Why are you defending Obama? Why is he above criticism?
This has nothing to do with my observation about what Michelle Obama did. Michelle Obama criticized her husband.
That's your observation of what she did.
Yes. Michelle Obama criticized Barack Obama publicly, even though Bill Clinton had side babies, had affairs in the White House, was messing with Epstein, did all manners of discussing debauchery, and she never said anything negative about the family in public, which I don't think you should criticize your family in public. You keep that behind closed doors.
TV guy, get out of here. My bad. I ain't mean to laugh. I wasn't laughing at you. I'm laughing at you.
But I guess Obama get a pass for dreaming about that. Like
it's not a valid pass, bro. You know this has nothing. We're talking about Michelle Obama's comment. This has nothing to do with.
Is that so? Let me ask you this. Is that not embarrassing as a spouse to hear your husband go up here and say he dreaming about the same sex?
Like, she gets an excuse, like yeah, she could.
Is that not embarrassing your? Is that not embarrassing your spouse?
Should Hillary Clinton not be embarrassed if you want to take it?
Why can't you just answer that question?
Yes, she should be embarrassed.
What Obama
should Hillary be embarrassed?
That's worse than what Bill Clinton did. Like let's be honest.
But Michelle's not a part of the machine the way Hillary is. Hillary was still working. Hillary was still working for jobs.
Okay, but like
we know that they were hanging out with Epstein. We know about Monica. We know he had side babies too. We know he had sexual assault cases.
Hillary played her role because she cared about her career.
The Obama was on the Epstein list, wasn't he?
Yep, sure was.
Yeah, I don't think you can use that as like a leverage play.
But Hillary did it for selfish reasons. Can we admit that? She after her time as first lady, went on to have a career in politics that ultimately won her the popular vote in a presidential election. So she was looking at the long game. She was like, okay, I can't fuck up what's going on with Bill because got him elected to 2 terms. She not trying to fuck up her place in the Democratic Party. And if you look at how she was treated post Bill Clinton shit, she was put on a certain pedestal because of the dues she paid and what she did in advancing her career. So it's like, she didn't do that because she's just like I love my man. She did that shit because she cared about her career and she was trying to become president. Like, that's the only reason she did all this shit. She don't deserve like kudos for being selfish.
Hey, shut out, Steve. Steve, you've had a couple decent questions in here. I'm not mad at it. He said, I'll throw it to you, Trey. So men should be above criticism from women.
Of course not. I wouldn't say that, but I will say that
Okay.
If I'll concede this to you, G, if Michelle Obama said that she criticized Barack Obama because he was doing all this gay stuff, then I wouldn't really have anything to say. But what she said was she didn't like that he was focused on his career and not around for the family and got around all this other stuff. She was talking about that type of thing. And I've even heard things where like Frederick Douglass, where he was having a problem with his wife, where he was out there being an abolitionist and everything. She was out there talking about public. Even saw Sojourner Truth said that if black men get the right to vote and black women don't, it'll be worse than slavery. So I think we have a situation where we've never been in a position that we've never had the same authority as other men do, especially in like these third world countries. But in America, we've never had the authority that these other groups do. We've kind of been, and then also even going back to the plantation, if you look at like Django, that's a depiction of like how it really was, where they worked through the women to administer like control over the rest of the people, because they want, the goal is to keep the warrior class at bay. So to do that, you elevate the women over them so they get drunk off this power that we get odds we're having in fight because we're not in a proper position, and it avoids them from having to deal with the warrior class. And women are typically more they're in more like survival mode to where they can adapt, versus men, we're supposed to, if there's a problem, we're more in tune to stand up to it, so that benefits them. So I'm looking at the bigger picture. It's not just me trying to throw shots at black women, but it seems like whenever you discuss these things from a larger perspective, the first thing people do as gynocrats is say, but oh, don't say anything negative about the black woman. What about the black man? It's like, bro, black men can be criticized too, but my problem is this gynocracy that is obviously present. That was my rant.
Got you. I don't know. Does anybody have anything else to say? All right, sounds good. We will land that plane. I guess this is a shout out for the next show. We will actually dive a little bit deeper into this exact conversation next week. When we talk about interracial dating. Is there a problem with interracial dating? Is it meat policing? You know, are black men standing up for the gynocracy? Is FBA simp culture? Next week on Dragon Ball Z. All right, so I guess it's probably a great time to kind of make that segue over to the topic at hand, which is DEI. It blends a little into the gender dynamic as well. I imagine as we start to get into this conversation, we'll kind of unpack a bunch of different layers to it. But I guess I like to start with a couple general questions as we start speaking about DEI in general. So I'll throw this one out here first. Do you believe diversity in the workplace is a positive?
Diversity in the workplace?
Mm-hmm. You think that is a positive? I guess according to studies, they say that it's more profitable. You come up with better solutions, XYZ. From your opinion, what would you say? Is diversity in the workplace a positive?
I was gonna say in general. Hey, shout out the job. We just had our Christmas party today, and one of the things the owner even spoke about was,
this turned Johnny. How many IPAs you had?
No,
y'all had IPAs and pizza. I know a holiday party.
It wasn't even that kind of party, because
damn,
it wasn't even that kind of party. It wasn't no liquor, but I mean, it might have been some, But I ain't gonna talk too much on that. But one of the things like Mr. Musgrave said, he spoke about like the diversity, like when you walk into a car dealership, about how like you got salespeople, and you got mechanics, you got parts people, you got office people, and a lot of these jobs are totally different, so you get totally different like personalities in it. And like he even spoke to like the diversity of like a car dealership and how it's very unique. I think in a lot of business atmospheres, that kind of diversity is good. to have different perspectives, especially if you're dealing with different clients and stuff. I think having different perspectives helps you be able to solve problems for more people, and that's usually the business. Usually, the goal of most businesses is to solve problems. So having that diversity helps you solve more problems. I think there's certain instances like, you talk about the NBA, the NHL, where, diversity don't really count. It's all about merit. And they say whether you can do it or not. But in certain aspects, I think you do have to have that diversity if it's not strictly
Gotcha.
merit.
And I do have a question to ask. Are there certain places where DEI shouldn't be? As we kind of like walk down the line. But it sounds like, so you are pro diversity, generally speaking, when it comes down to the workplace.
Generally, yeah.
G, talk to us.
Yeah, I think I agree. But with some caveats, right? Because like when we say diversity, and then we start talking about diversity across all these different cross sections of identities and things like that, it's like, I don't know if you need sexuality diversity in the workplace, right, as an example. Like, I don't know if it's important that we have every person on the alphabet in the organization. Like, I don't know. But what I'll say though is we do. I think it's great to have people from different backgrounds and experiences. So you want to have that diversity of thought and just general life experiences coming together to come up with solutions. But I also think though, you're looking for a common denominator too. You feel me? So it's like you want diversity, but you also need people that can buy into what we here to do. So it's like, though you're looking for different perspectives, you also looking for some like-minded individuals too in certain aspects that are going to carry the mission forward. So I think diversity is good, but
I mean diversity in background, as in socioeconomic. Well, I guess maybe socioeconomic, but
could be class,
more or less, like race, gender. I actually, so prior to this conversation, I have a friend who works and does DEI training for a lot of Fortune 500 companies. That's kind of like what their job thing is. So I had a bunch of questions because I think that there's a bunch of things that we hear. And one of the questions that I asked him was, is there a gender specific quota? Not gender specific. There are quotas. So there's a race quota. I think that there's a gender quota. There's not an LGBTQ quota. But what representation inside those companies look like is them doing, like, whether it's like a rainbow thing or something like that. It's more so once you get in there. And they said that 9 times out of 10, most people present inside interviews as closeted. And then maybe it comes out a little bit more during like them at work or something like that. But there's no actual quota for LGBTQ inside the workplace. The other ones, yes, there is a quota for like again, ethnic groups, gender.
Yeah, and that's why I say I think it becomes slippery when you start breaking down diversity by these identities, whether it be race, sexuality, and so forth. Like, I think it's important to make sure that you're not monolithic within your org, but I don't think you should go out and intentionally try to have an organization that's reflective of the U.S. population, in my honest opinion. I don't think that's like, I don't think that, like, when people say, well, black people are 13% of the population, so your organization should have at least 13% black people. It's like, that I don't agree with that, because if my organization has 40% black people, are you going to say it should have 13%? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, I just feel like when we start breaking it down by these identities and making sure that like certain percentages is checked, that's where it becomes kind of like less valuable, in my opinion, and more of a political point.
Okay. Trey.
Man, I would say, other than DEI and all that, I think we just need equal opportunity, which is what the original intention was in the first place, where, our tax dollars are going to all these public schools, but we can't go there. That's not right. But what it's become now, I think it should just be like done away with entirely. Like I think diversity to get it to
No, but when you said, what do you mean by that? You said all our tax dollars are going to public schools, but we can't go there. What do you mean?
Like
by that?
like back when they first came out with these civil rights laws, because we were being
okay. You're not talking about like currently right now.
But that's what I was trying to get right
okay,
back to. But just to segue that into what we're talking about right now, I think diversity comes where if you're like in a marketing department and your culture is a target audience, then it would make perfect sense for your company to have people of the target audience in the room discussing the best marketing campaign. And that's with a diverse America, we will need to at least represent the demographics. So, but I think what we have now is more than equal opportunity, and it goes against the original intention. So,
all right. So my bad. You said that right now in America, we have more than equal opportunity.
No. I'm saying
what do you mean?
What they made DEI into has nothing to do with its original purpose. That's why they just struck it down in the Supreme Court, because it was meant to serve the foundational Black Americans who have been discriminated against and contribute to the culture. And I think once it's going to really help.
Are you talking about affirmative action, or are you talking about DEI?
Affirmative action, which turned into DEI, which it's all connected.
Okay, right. I don't think DEI
is connected, but not synonymous.
Yeah, I think they're different. DEI purpose. A lot of people argue that it's like more Black, brown than other than just specifically Black, and that's its own different critique than it being purposeful for Black people.
I think as long as you're not like crowbarring people in the position where it doesn't benefit the company, that's cool. Like I don't know if there needs to be a quota on people in a certain community. I even saw where Trina She was talking about how there is set aside money that like grants and things like that they ask you if there are people in that rainbow community and what the number is, and depending on like your score and how they calculate that depends who receives the money first. And I think things like that are not conducive to, like improving our society. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think you should have to hire a person in that community to be able to get government funding.
Yeah, and again, like something that was told to me was that it's illegal to have any version of that preference when it comes to hiring. So you can't ask if they are or aren't.
Oh, I was specifically talking about like loans. Like there's
you talking about loans? Okay, got you.
Yeah, like in grants and things like that.
What about like in the NFL they got the Rooney Rule that say like organizations have to at least interview X amount of Black coaches or something like that. Like, what do you think? So it doesn't force them to hire, but it makes them put a pause on like just putting something in place without going through like a proper process of giving people opportunity. Do you feel like the Rooney Rule
qualified people the opportunity?
Qualified, because it did lead to Mike Tomlin having he been in Steelers 20 years. I think he was a Rooney Rule interview.
Hall of Fame coach too.
Yeah,
but the Miami coach, he found out that he was interviewing for a job that was already given to somebody else, and the only reason they let him interview for was so they could meet right for the Rooney Rule qualification. So it still leaves a lot to be desired as far as it's what the original problem is supposed to solve.
But it sounds like it does have some positive merit that has came from it.
I think we should,
if it was like left up to his own devices, Mike Tomlin probably wouldn't have got interviewed in general.
That was a long time ago. I think we need to do a better job of not being so easily satisfied and having higher standards. Like just because Mike Tomlin got a job, we still know is not the policy doesn't is far short.
Well, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he was saying that the policy is good enough, but the fact that there's something in place where it makes sure that it actually interviews.
I'm asking
to where there has been like some positive recourse to this version of DEI stature.
Like, do you see it as beneficial or as something that should just not even? They should get rid of the Rooney Rule too.
That's a tough question, man. Because
not saying it can't be better. I think we all agree it could be better, but at least as a baseline, it has done a positive that would not have been done.
There needs to be something added to it before I can say it's worth it, because it's so easy to get the loopholes, and it's so easy to get around it that it's almost like.
But you wouldn't be for them having to hire black people either, right?
I think they need to hire the most qualified person.
Right.
So yeah,
but at least making sure that they have to.
I don't even know if I agree with that. If I'm a private owner of this football team and I want my nephew to coach this motherfucker, and I'm cutting the checks, nephew.
Then I guess that's why black people need to.
Hey, Bronny, my bad.
it's my team, right? I own the team, right? It's mine. That means Bronny, I bought this motherfucker, right?
Y'all better draft that nigga.
Y'all can't tell me what to do with my hiring process.
But that's kind of on us then, because the primary workforce is the people that you are discriminating against. So for them to go and play for someone knowing they're getting discriminated against, that's why, back to this whole Jay-Z thing where he worked with them and then they did Kaepernick how they did. It's like we should demand that we are in ownership instead of this plantation type system. So they have that power, but at the end of the day, people are.
Do you think that it becomes like do you just overthrow the NFL without incremental steps?
Man, what if all the FBA players quit playing right now?
But I understand that's like the that's a great hypothetical. I'm just asking, do you think that it's possible to do it without incremental steps? Like if all FBA players just stop playing, I think that and started their own league, it'll be fire. And like those are like the fun campfire hypotheticals. I'm asking you, do you think that the NFL will change without incremental steps? Like we can overthrow the power structure of the NFL without incremental steps.
You're saying, is it possible or is it likely or realistic? Because it's definitely possible. Because
realistic. I understand your hypothetical would be the possible. Is it realistic? Like when we're having like an actual solution-based conversation of what can get done without incremental steps, do you think that it can realistically be done?
Man, I don't think you can pay a person that comes from nothing to go and then just take a big one for the team and then not take that money just on behalf of the group. But maybe it'll be more possible now that these NCAA players are getting paid in high school, so they're not coming. I mean, not in high school, college, all that. So they're not coming to the table.
Not even like if y'all. I love to have a full NIL conversation where, like there is so much in the background of both sides, high school and college. Again, my son got 2 5.5, 4.5 to 5 stars at his school. I see that shit happening right now. Whereas like it's exploitation happening across the board. Yeah. But then you can go to like where they're just somewhat trying to legalize old control that they already had that they was doing behind the table, but they still have loopholes to where they won't pay them kids their money. It still does happen.
You say it's progress though, right? Because before they weren't getting paid at all.
That one kid left the team because he ain't get his check. He was like a quarterback for I think UNLV.
Yeah. But like they play all those games with them kids.
That was on the agent. You gotta get that in writing, and that's what.
Well, but I'm just saying it's all handshake money.
I'm about to say so much of that is handshake money.
Oh, it's all handshake money. No,
not with NIL. You can actually. That's the point of NIL. You can have contracts and it's legal.
No, you can make it legal. Most expect like if you're talking about what's the Manning's son or nephew Archie and like with AJ DeBanster, they're going to have like he got like an Adidas NIL. A lot of this shit comes from the same people that was putting together the money that the same money that they was giving these kids to go to those schools illegally. It's the exact same. I forget what they
make sure they go to the schools that had their logos and stuff. Like the Adidas players go to Adidas schools, the Nike players go to Nike schools.
But not even that. I'm talking about the sponsors from the school.
Oh yeah.
Just the dirty money. All they did was legalize the dirty money and be able to find a new way to hold leverage. And you see it a lot. That's why I mean the transfer portal is a motherfucker too.
But yeah, I get that. But the president of the NCAA was telling people that he has contract templates on their website, and telling like people to go get their agents. And so like
hey Johnny, that's like saying like Def Jam has contract templates to go sign.
But like every
rappers ain't stopped getting fucked yet.
Some of these kids are getting paid literally with a Y on a handshake. Like it don't even be like paper. It'd be like oh, go get my car and grab something, and the bag be right there for
me. How about this, Johnny? I'll give you this.
Change though for a lot of these kids, and that's what's really going to like help a lot of these kids is once you start. If you come from like a neighborhood and you ain't got a lot, and you got some talent, and you can go to the NCAA, you can go to a college and get a contract, and they got to pay you this money for your services. That's gonna change the shit for a lot of these kids.
Right. That or you become or you become beholden to those people that are paying you.
Damn, Q, would you just prefer they don't get paid at all?
No. So
like this is progress.
But whether you,
I'm not arguing if it's progress or not. I don't think that it ends up.
I got you. ISO.
No, sure. What I'm saying is, whether we say that this is progress or not, I don't know, because the reality is that the kids been getting paid anyway. If you was good enough, you was getting paid.
But the difference,
and I've seen that, and I know of this. Hold on, let me land the plane. What I'm seeing now is the money manipulation happening, and then these kids are they end up beholden to these people that are paying them, and that becomes its own different thing. It's not like again that contract template that you're talking about sounds good. But that's not what's happening with the majority of this NIL money. And again, there's so many incentive-based things that now they're trying to bake in. Like you just seen Elliot Cadeau crying after losing because that nigga got so much pressure on him because his NIL. But
like with these contracts, the contracts are meant to be year to year. Maybe 2 years. So like you're not beholden. You sign for a year. You do what they say, and then like with the transfer portal and all of that, you can go and you can exercise options, as we would say in the dating world. And like you can go and you can look and see what other options you got, and then you go. But the contracts is what makes it legal, and is what makes these kids not get in these crazy like situations like the boy like in UNLV. If you have it on paper, that was the whole thing. His agent didn't get. He took a handshake and told boy to go over there and they're gonna give you the check. And when they didn't, there's nothing on paper. But like if it's going to be true professional sports, you have to have these contracts in place, and those contracts, if you negotiate them right, they make these kids not beholden. It makes the school more beholden to the kids, and I think that's the way it should be if the kids are the product.
Right. And again, in a perfect world, that sounds great, and that would be great if it actually worked out how you say it. From again, whether you want to go check out like the Gilbert Arenas, anybody that has a kid that has an NIL, they speak about how 9 times out of 10 you have to sacrifice the NIL money for actual like success. Where we're talking about kids.
They're talking about
let me land it real quick. So if we're talking about kids. And like this is where I use the record label example with agents who have to get paid, and those agents. And again, here's also the thing: like your average NCAA athlete is not getting the big 10 million, 500,000 NIL. Like so, this is for like maybe the top 20 inside the McDonald's All-American, not All-American, but ESPN top 20. Top 100. Maybe you stretch it to top 30. A lot of them are getting like different versions of packages that are thrown to them that are also incentive based.
It's just like
that's the reality of what's actually happening for the average kid. Then like there's a bunch of these there's a bunch of kids that are getting. Again, you have agents.
Pennies.
You have agents, and you have schools that pretty much to an extent are working in cahoots, where there's back handshake deals that are being made for these kids' futures that's leveraging them. Where like whether the kid, like if the kid performs, that's great. that agent's going to get paid at the end of the day.
Did you see where they was trying to get off life deals
hold on.
kids? They was trying to get them to sign lifetime deals for name, image, and likeness. It's crazy.
Yeah, like it's.
But here's the beautiful thing about it, though. It's like what they're trying to do is like get it away from agents and getting where the school, South Carolina, they have something called the Garnet Trust, where like it's just like scholarship money, and you go and you sign, and you don't necessarily have
the kids
need.
ain't going to do it, nigga. I can tell you right now, like if you a 4-star, 5-star, right now you're getting
paying you don't need an agent because you get the contract.
But the school can't pay you in high school. You get your agent in high school. The agent's gonna come in high school. So like right now, I see the kids arms full of tats in under the year. Like they getting flown out to go hoop with what's his name, C. Brickley and shit like that. But none of this shit. None of this is hold on, Johnny. Just listen.
About the average student though now.
The average student don't get none of this. Like the average, but the average student don't get any of that. Like they just get lucky to get $1,000 per.
When the NIL money is coming just from the school and not sponsorship.
But that's not how the NIL. That's not how it works.
You got to be like a starting quarterback at a FBS school to be getting like a like lower end. Like I think the UNLV dude was looking at 100,000.
They can pay everybody that's there. You can have a base salary for every kid.
But, all right, my bad. What school is actually doing what you're saying? Like none of the schools are doing this exact model. What you're saying? Like these are the hypotheticals. I think the one. And how much is each kid getting?
They paid every girl on their basketball team.
How much?
$25,000 to play basketball for the school. Every single girl, no matter if you started, no matter if you was a star. Now the stars got more money in NIL because they were stars, but every girl that was on the roster got $25,000.
That's not bad, actually. I'm not mad at that.
From the school, and that makes it better for everybody.
I agree, but let's also.
But that's a star program at South Carolina.
Let's also put that in perspective.
It's the money.
It was an example.
No. That is an example. Do you like it depends on like kind of how you contract it out. And then the back. This is what I'm saying. My main thing is that there's so many back
contracts that help everybody,
or locks people in for an extended period of time and fucks everybody. I've seen contracts fuck everybody more than it's helped everybody.
But these contracts,
especially when you're talking about black talent.
We're not talking about 5-7 year contracts. We're talking about 1 year contracts, 2 year contracts. Like we ain't like those that ain't binding nobody. And we talk about the NCAA in the era of the transfer portal. Like it was a dude from South Carolina. He took a bunch of NIL money and then transferred to Ole Miss, and everybody was pissed at him because he didn't play. He took the money and ran. He
didn't even finish the bowl game or some shit, right?
Yeah. I'm not. No. Again, the thing is
about Juice Wells taking the money and running.
Oh, like, and the thing is that it hurt. It works on both ends. There's some kids that's getting off, and there's some kids that, like I said, this is his own like deeper conversation because I don't know a lot of these, especially I can only speak to hoops. If you stay in college more than 1 year and you got that big NIL bag, most of these niggas aren't going to the league. There's a certain level of complacency that actually sets in. So then, like when we're talking about like these NIL kids and the impact that they're making inside the grander scheme.
They're 1 year.
I didn't. Yeah, you can do 1 year deals.
But that keeps the complacency out because once you do your year, you got to continue to work.
All right, I'm gonna tap out of the conversation. We can next. Matter of fact, this Sunday we'll just have the full conversation, and I'm gonna lay it all out to you inside like an easier, more digestible way. Because like you're saying this as if like all the information and evidence isn't already existing, but I'm sure I would just have to actually lay it out for you. So y'all, this Sunday we're gonna talk about kids, complacency, NIL, and if it's net negative, net positive in general. That'll be my topic for this weekend.
We figured it out.
Yeah. All right.
Q, real quick, bro.
Yeah.
It's only like NIL only started in 2021. It's only like 3 years old. So of course there's going to be some issues that need to be worked out. But I think at the end of the day, we've been talking about these players should get paid for a long time. So it's one thing to talk about like how it can improve, but at the end of the day, what we don't want is what we had before. So all right, so I'm not saying that like I'm just pointing out the fact that it's a flawed system right now, and I see. Of course, it's a flawed system.
So that's my point that I'm making is that right now it's literally the Wild West and exploitation is happening.
I wasn't arguing that it was perfect either.
Right, that's the middle ground I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, That's all I'm saying. Do I think that if set up the proper way,
fellas,
yeah, if the right legislation is put up, I have no problem with NIL. Generally speaking, there's a bunch of different things with collegiate and whatchamacallit sports that I might have like different versions of taste.
It's progress, nigga. These niggas get paid, bro. That's a good thing. Like,
nigga. They gotta be a progress, nigga.
Right. So we don't want to let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
Ooh, bar.
That's cool. I'm not mad at it. Let's continue down the line. I don't know how we got here from diversity, but we made it.
Yeah, I don't either, because that's an example of merit. That's the opposite of DEI, because it's a level playing field.
That's facts.
Yeah, for the most part, yes, I would agree with that. DEI. Let me ask y'all this. Again, another one that kind of just we just digging at the moment. Nobody's pinned against the wall, but we just digging a little bit deeper into this conversation. Does representation matter? So I guess that as y'all are thinking, nobody kind of hopped out first. When I think of it, I think of like me being at the workplace. I was just doing web design, and it ended up being like once you walk into the office, you're in your own space, but there's almost like this natural gravity of a lot of the people that look like you, the black people at your job. Where I know, like unintentionally, the black men I guess it's intentional a little bit, but we had like our own little. This back in the day when we was using Slack, own little Slack channel where like we just chop shit and talk like regular, quote unquote, black people shit. And then whether it was like from music to politics to workplace politics, XYZ. And when I look at representation, I tend to think of it inside that, where being able to go in there inside the workplace and have other people that you see that represent similar ideals and ideas that you stand for. But I don't know.
I mean, I think
I'll throw it out there.
I think that kind of goes to something G was speaking to earlier about like diversity matters, but like a lot of times when you hiring, you're gonna hire people with like the same, like there's a consistency amongst the people that you're hiring and personality trait, or there's something where there's a commonality. And I think like representation, it matters, but like for the most part, like when you hiring people, and if your employer does a good job of hiring people, no matter what they look like, black, white, blue, purple, there's going to be a camaraderie because they've hired personalities that mesh well. And I think a lot of times, like,
do y'all tend to have decent camaraderie with a lot of the black folk at your jobs? Do y'all work inside predominantly white spaces?
Very predominant.
Yeah,
I'll tell you this. At my job, it's 15 salespeople. I think half of them are black or Hispanic.
Okay, so you have like
so the other half, I think actually more than half. It's like 8 of us that are either black. It's like 4 or 5 black, and
y'all doing the replacement theory early.
But it's like 8. It's like 7 white people. So like we have and those numbers have been consistent, and so the representation. But I've also, some of my best friends from there have been some of the white people. Some of my best friends have been like Jeff Keefe. Like those are 2 of my best friends. Those 2 of my brothers. Love them to death. Shout out them boys. I met them there, so that mattered. But like a lot of times, it's just about having good camaraderie. It's more about personality in the workplace. I think in the workplace, it's more about just having good personalities that mesh well. I think in school, representation matters as far as teachers and like authority figures. So we're talking about the power dynamic. That's a little different. I think it matters. As far as your authority figures, it's good to have authority figures that you can represent and that look like you. Peers, I don't think it matters as much. Authority figures, I think representation does matter.
So for you, peers in the workplace don't really matter like that.
Representation, not really, but like that when it comes to authority figures, like managers, management, supervisors, seeing somebody in an authority figure that like represents me or that I can see, I think that matters a lot more than just like on the peer-to-peer level.
Gotcha. So I guess I do want to hear your answers to that other question, and then I think Johnny posed a couple things too as well. So in the workplace, y'all say that y'all two live y'all work in predominantly white spaces. With your black coworkers, is there typically like some version of a camaraderie, or is it kind of like still like
Man, it's tricky.
I gotta say, like, it's tricky because it also depends on like where you fall in terms of like what level of the org, right? So like when you hit that manager
black
level,
peers, I guess.
That's I was gonna say, like, when you are with your peers, I do think it becomes like the cafeteria, so to speak, in high school, where
I guess
your people hanging one way and other people hanging the other, right? But I do think when you start being in these rooms with the higher ups and it becomes very like homogenous, like it's just like, I don't know about everybody, but it's just when you start speaking to the higher ups, you tend to see the same type of people in those positions. And I do feel like, at least for me personally, there is it's a deterrent to want to like go to a certain level of the org when you see who within the org is at certain levels, and it's like, these would be my peers. Like I'm trying to get to this peer group.
Yeah, so like, you don't see proper representation at the higher space.
Yeah, if you don't see that, it can be a deterrent to want to like strive and get there, in my opinion.
Okay. Trey, talk to us.
Like you were saying, it's kind of tricky because we don't want to get stuck into this black faces in high places illusion of conclusion type of mindset where just because, like they said in the chat.
Hey Steve, Trey has a Trey solid. He's not.
Call that nigga a janitor, bro.
Yeah, he ain't a janitor. Trey has a high earning job.
But why we
smart nigga shit?
Why we gotta hate on janitors though?
That's what I'm saying. You mean the sanitation engineers? Like if I was if I was in the custodial services, I think my opinion would still be valid.
Oh, sanitation engineers. That's a nice one. That's a nice one.
I could use a haircut. Is that what it is?
Sanitation engineer. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Shout out, Trey.
Waste management. You know what I'm saying? But I would say it depends on what you get, because like they said in the chat, I think TBI said that. No, that was Don P. Like Brandon Johnson, how he's really turning his back on the black Chicagoans. And, with Kamala Harris, who said, I'm not going to do anything. It's only going to help black people. No. And then Barack Obama, who his priority was dreamers and the rainbow community. So,
but let me
talk about the workplace.
I imagine that you look at Kamala and Barack as others, right? So what about like real FBA representation? Inside? Well,
Brandon Johnson
at your job.
FBA.
Who is that? Is that the Chicago mayor?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one that was giving out all the money to the migrants and prioritizing the migrants over there and put them in the black.
I don't think that he had a choice. He in the sanctuary city.
He the one that got lowered.
Right to state. What is it? Right to like if you don't, you give up federal funding. So if you're inside any of those states as the governor or mayor, you just are shit out of luck until y'all are able to vote on it. Because how the policies are, they can't do shit.
Well, if you follow the new black
media, we had this conversation.
No, that's not true. If you follow the new black,
so they can not give them shit and still receive federal aid.
They say he Haitian. Shout out Gert.
If you follow the new black media, you will see that they had panels and they had boards and they had city council meetings where the city council or the city governments was going out of their way to platform the migrants and silence the voices of the black people who are
but that doesn't go against like that's his own different shit. Which
they didn't have to do that.
If they're doing it, that's fucked up. What I'm saying is that the money, they have no choice. They don't have like a choice in that though.
And let's not steer off the original question
they can't.
too.
Yeah, they can't give out the money unless they're doing like the right to shelter. That's what it is. It's right to shelter in their sanctuary city. Like a lot, like there's certain cities that have the double whammy to where it's fucked. And until the actual laws change, it don't matter who the mayor is. They're just fucked. And that's why who's the dude in Texas? Is it Abbott? Like he's smart because he's sending them intentionally to these cities where if they make it on that soil, they got to deal with it. Whether it puts them in debt. And that's why like New York, they had to figure out all these different versions of shit. It's because they couldn't do anything but the right thing because of, if not, they lost federal funding for all the other programs in their city.
I don't accept this whole thing where people are just powerless to do right by the citizens. And I think
well, I'm just saying how the laws work. You don't accept like the way the government and laws work.
I want to accept your interpretation of what it is. I don't think you're as versed in it as.
My bad. So are you saying that they could have just not given out the money?
You're talking about like the free debit cards for food and like putting them in the 5-star hotels and then closing down the black sports houses or whatever, and then putting the.
No, so I'm not talking about the example that you're giving. So like I understand that.
That's what I'm talking about.
The example that you're giving. Where, and again, I'm not for like giving the migrants money and shit like that. I just did the research and understood why they had to. Because I was like, damn, why are they giving all of them?
I think you're mistaken.
Why are they giving all these? I'm not. But I was. So this is where I'm asking, because you were just slippery when I answered the question. You gave the examples that New York did to try and quote unquote cut money because they had to do it. Well, all right. When you said free, like the debit cards, XYZ, a lot of those things are like same as New York. These things and like the places that they were sheltering these people at, because it's a right to shelter, like it's illegal, like they have a right to shelter, and then it is a sanctuary city. When you put those two together, they have to shelter the migrants under a certain level. Is it amnesty? I want to say like the way the laws is worked. That's how it works. But Trey, again, you know this because we didn't have this full conversation.
No, I don't know this.
Oh, right. My bad. I'm assuming. My bad. I'm assuming that you're
well versed. If you follow the New Black Media, shout outs to Black Alpha Network. I think you'd be more versed.
My bad. Tell me what I said that's wrong. But Trey, no, tell me what I said that's wrong.
You said that they don't have a choice in doing this stuff.
Okay. What could they do?
I will say, Eric Adams did a press conference where he addressed how his hands are tied as it relates to migrants. It's not what he wants to do; it's what he literally has to do legally as the mayor. Like that was something he did speak to in a press conference.
Well, I'll concede that I'm not as nearly as well versed in what's going on in New York as I am in Chicago. So if you're talking about New York, that's one thing, but I don't know if you can necessarily. If you've been focused on New York, I don't know you can speak as an authority on what's going on in Chicago, especially when
is it a sanctuary city? No, I'm just asking.
Yes, sanctuary city.
Is it right to shelter?
I don't know.
Okay, if it's not right to shelter, I'll concede that point. If it's right to shelter and a sanctuary city, it's going to go through the same federal guidelines. But if it's not right to shelter, then
well, how about this? What if the people in the city were trying to vote to remove that status, and the city government went out of their way to silence their voices so they couldn't do that?
My bad. Say it one more time. I was reading the comment.
But let's say
I apologize.
That the citizens there who had a problem with it were doing their best to reverse that standing, and they were having meetings and votes and everything like that. But the city government wanted their hands tied, so they didn't allow the people to help them untie their hands. So that means at that point, if you choose to have your hands tied, you can't then claim that my hands are tied, therefore I can't do anything. That's what
gotcha. I would have to see what they were doing and attempting to get done, and if it could get done. If it could get done, then I think that's fucked up on a local level of what they're doing. Again, I'm not for migrants getting money over black people at all. I just always want to know like the why. So Don P, to the question that you asked me, you said, why haven't we put the same energy to our home? This is a question I have, and I agree with you. Again, I am not making a case for why they should get money. I'm just telling you why they are getting money. and it's well, you just all right. I'm gonna tap out. I'm gonna go ahead and tap out. That's my
please, bro. Respectfully, bro, because you're speaking on that's not what it is. Because have you been? No, you don't
Trey,
even follow
you
the new
just
black
admitted
media.
that again, if it's amnesty and right to work, I know what I'm talking about.
Okay,
that's the only thing I'm talking about. So all the cities that are amnestied and have right to work. So I give the example of New York. I'm not speaking specifically about Chicago. So if they don't have right to work, if it's not a right to work state, and I can look it up right now, and I can give you the answer.
But that's not the question, though. The question is if they are trying to remove that status that ties their hands, and then the city government is preventing them from removing that status, which that's what it is.
But how can the city remove a federal law?
They were having a vote on whether the city would remain a sanctuary city. If they don't have the ability to make
cities can remove federal laws. Like weed, for example, you can make weed legal even though it's federally illegal. Cities and states can create laws that contradict federal laws.
Okay,
and they were actively working to do that, and then Brandon Johnson, they were doing tricky stuff in the background to silence the people who are working to do right by their own city. So to say that their hands were tied while they were causing their hands to be tied is the cop out that it's just hard for me to allow. Hard for me to you say that and me not try to. You know what I'm saying? Because they're doing the best they can.
I will just next week I'll come with better information, more research. I know if we're talking about amnesty, sanctuary cities, and right to work states, and how those three things align. I don't know Chicago's specific situation. And I'll research what they're trying to do and pass on the local level. And I'll give you another perspective next week. Whether it aligns or disaligns, I'm cool with conceding.
But if you don't go to Black Alpha Network and Afro Elite, then I'm not really sure if you're going to get the information because they don't get picked up by the mainstream media. Well, Black Alpha Network and Afro Elite. Like they were on the ground with their cameras. They were at the meetings. They were planning. They were getting people to come there. They were reporting on the news from the ground, and they're part of the new black media. So, of course, you're probably going to see something different if you go to mainstream media. But
I'm not necessarily caring as much about mainstream media as much as how laws work. And I understand what you're saying. I'll go check them out. So there's not even a problem with me researching and checking them out. I also want to know what can be done. That's the only thing I care about. Like, I don't care about the sensationalized part of any of this. That's why, like I said, I'm against migrants getting the money. I just understand why they're legally getting the money, whether their hands, like the governor can or can't do anything about it. Because at first I thought that it was just them doing it off the strength, and I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. But then when you understand, it's like, okay. Like there's more things at work, and that's the only thing that I'm saying. But I'll report back next week.
Stubborn, bro.
Because I just be looking at how
because you keep saying it's the way the law works. What I'm trying to tell you is the people are meeting to get around that, and you're trying to tell. I know
right, Trey,
that's again. What the law is.
Listen, we'll have this conversation next week because right now you are telling me that you're saying in Chicago again. I'm speaking New York. If we can go through sanctuary cities with amnesty and right to work states and what the local people can do to get things done. What you're saying is what you're saying. What I'm like, all I'm saying is that I know what I've researched already. If it changes next week, we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not for making it. I'm not for immigrants, right? So if they can change something, I'm for that. So that'd be amazing in my eyes. I just haven't seen legally where it can be done at. So we'll just see. All right. So nonetheless, as we continue walking down the conversation, we kind of have like these like amazing 10-minute tangents that can just go anywhere. But that is the nature of Unpacked because it's about unpacking nuanced thoughts amongst a bunch of black, some might, say FBA guys in there. Oh, not even saying that inside like any
high level conversation too.
Yeah, just like really nuanced conversations. I think we all in here believe inside like the FBA lineage, and we all are that. I think that when I say like look, I think you always take it like the worst way. It ain't meant that bad, Johnny. Not Johnny. Trey. Or not that bad. It's not meant bad at all.
At least you didn't say African American, so it's all good.
There you go.
I ain't African at all, Trey.
My nigga.
Tell him you just Dominican.
about.
Take that head off. Let him see that hair.
Hey,
That boy Dominican.
Yeah,
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. Love to hear it.
But no, all right. So fellas, do you believe in equality of opportunity? Again, sometimes it's get confused with equality of outcome.
Yes.
But equality of opportunity.
Yes. I was just having to shout out my boy Rob.
This what makes you a feminist, right?
Who, me? I ain't no feminist.
If you believe in equality of opportunity, that like by definition, we saying, or we do believe in feminists, or
well, I think that by definition that would be feminist.
Why you had to bring that in? Now you trying to.
So
why you said that?
Like in a technical sense, that is what it technically would be.
Because I
maybe first wave.
But no, he's just talking about like the actual. All right, my bad. Hey, G, you about to put us on like a 10-minute tangent.
Let me
Johnny, just go ahead and answer.
Let me go.
Yeah.
I think I mean, when we talk equality, nobody speaks of equality of outcome, because equality of outcome speaks to meritocracy. The outcome's gonna be the outcome's gonna be. The only thing we have ever had issue with, especially as Black people, especially as FBA, because we know the lineage and we know what the DNA say. If we get equal opportunity, the outcome gonna work itself out no matter what. And so we always fight for equal opportunity, because equal opportunity is true equality. And we all ain't built the same. Like no matter what our opportunities are, there's gonna be some people that do more with it, some people that's gonna do less with it. It has nothing to do with race, gender, any of the isms. We could talk about it. Got to do with merit. Got to do with character. Got to do with the fucking fight you got in your heart. And so, like, if we all coming from an equal playing field, there should be no complaints. You know, if there's equal opportunity across the board, then we can all show what we really got. But I don't think there is equal opportunity. When you look at school funding and you look at the schools, the neighborhoods that certain people come from, the opportunities aren't equal, and that's the problem. But once we get equal opportunity, fuck what they gotta do. We straight. Give me equal opportunity, I'll make it work from there.
Gotcha.
Trey, talk to him.
I agree with that. I say equal opportunity is the goal, because that's what we want to replace white supremacy with, to where but also we need justice too. So not only do we need equal opportunity, we also need to be made whole for a lot of the things that's happened in the past. But that doesn't mean that people who are unqualified should be given positions just for any reason other than their capabilities. So to answer, long story short, I believe equal opportunity is ideal, and like John said, a lot of the issues will work themselves out. That's like with sports, it's like one of the pure meritocracies for the most part, and you see how we do there. It's really pretty much the only meritocracy. So if we made everything a meritocracy, then I think you wouldn't really see us in like downtrodden positions like that.
Got it. G, talk to us.
Yeah, I would say this might just be a matter of semantics. But I would say generally the E is the one word I typically have somewhat of a beef with in DEI. If there's a piece
equality
of it,
or equity?
Equality.
Okay.
Is that because of a lack of equality of opportunity, or is it because you see the outcome? And you don't
so I believe we should have maybe not equal opportunity, but non-discriminatory opportunity would be the way I would phrase it. Because at the end of the day, like we have talked about nepotism in the past, and that's not equal opportunity. And I'm not anti-nepotism. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I understand that there are going to be situations, the way to work, like we was talking about, like if I own a football team and it's my football team, and I want my nephew to coach it, like this nigga's lucky he my nephew. You know
but generally speaking, would you say that
both of those could still be true though? Like,
do you think that in general the society should be based off of nepotism, or like the baseline should be equality of opportunity and with option of like depending on if this is like your own personal organization XYZ. But if we're talking about on a larger scale, when we get into like a private owned business in a monopoly, and like the differences in, you know, like rules and regulations between what makes a monopoly and if you just running a business, where like if you're controlling that industry is way different than if you just got the Chinese spot and you only hiring Chinese people.
Yeah, so it's like equality. It sound equal opportunity. Like how Trey says, it's something maybe to strive. Like it's something that sounds like the ideal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with that. I just don't know where equality exists outside of like chemistry and math.
But
like,
no, I think equality of opportunity could come from just like fair funding of schools. Like,
but how do you define fair? How do you define fair? Fair doesn't mean equal.
Like equal funding, like per student. Like if you look at the schools on the west side of Charlotte, the funding is
I get what you're saying.
Than the schools on like my.
You go to Huff. You look at West Charlotte, and you look at my bad. We just beat them by 80. You look at West Mech, and then you look at Huff. The amount, so the amount per student technically is the same, but then you talk about like the funding and tax dollars and
that's like, fairness, which is not equality. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
but I think that's where we're getting into where he's saying like per like each. In essence, I imagine what Johnny is saying is that like the educational like bottom line should be the same. Not even the bottom line. Like in general, you should be able to get the same education across the board at public schools.
I agree in theory,
no matter where it is.
Right. Again, if we're talking about private, that's different. But in public schooling, like the disparity between a Huff and a West Mech,
that's the problem.
It's probably problematic. Or like a West Mech and a Myers Park. Like we can name like a bunch of these different little schools where there's a disparity in funding in the school, where
and that's not equal opportunity at the end of the day.
Yes, and it ends up being reflective inside like the facility and the teachers,
and it's reflected in the outcome of the people that come from
the outcome of the kids. Yeah,
like, and you can see it. And
it's just like I said, like it sounds like something noble to work toward. I don't disagree. It's just
easy, though. That's just like local, like.
It's not easy. That's what I'm saying. It's not. I would argue if is it even realistic? Because at the end of the day, when you put 5 things together and that becomes the 5 things, then they become ranked against one another. It's not like we're all equal. It's we're better in this. We're better. It starts to become
we talking about
the worst of the 5 who gets equal funding. It's like it's easy to. You're not gonna have the same teachers. You can't have the same curriculum.
We should.
But at least like if you make the baseline
easy thing to like baseline like
but I say if you make the baseline like the funding and the quality of teacher, I think that even that can be.
But how do you get a baseline of quality? That's what I'm saying. Like we can't have. It's just
I mean, like I think there's a bunch of different versions of ways of how teachers are ranked. And again, like if we're talking about making sure each spot is equal, let's say if we're saying equality of education for a West Mech in comparison to the Myers Park, you might have to pay the teachers a little bit more to go teach at West Mech.
That's not equality.
What the kids are getting a equal they're getting an equal education. So what you're talking about is like if the funding across the board is going to be levied out the same, and I'm talking about if the quality of education across the board is going to be levied out the same. So I think that both of those do look different, but I'm talking about the quality of education. So like the funding doesn't necessarily have to be the exact same because Myers Park naturally has a different version of kids, a different version of parents, a different version of teachers.
That's fact.
And like that just is what it is.
They're not equal, is what you're saying.
No, it's not equal. But that's
But
kind of where that's where the conversation starts.
equality
Like
comes
that's
in,
where
too.
you start balancing it out.
We
If
have
everything started out
and
equal,
equality are two different things.
right?
What?
Equal, something being equal and something being equitable are two different
Yeah,
things.
but equal. So okay. Are we talking So that's again, are we talking equality and equal are the same? Equitable is different, but if we're talking like equality, I'm talking equality.
All right, so we're talking about equality of opportunity. So
and again,
that doesn't mean, but that so then that doesn't mean
of
equality of funding. It just means equality of like chance to be something, whether you end up being that or not. That's cool. So that could be equality of the quality of your education.
I believe in non-discriminatory opportunities. Like your opportunities shouldn't be dictated by your neighborhood, by your race, by your sexuality, by your religion. Like none of those things in theory should impact your access to opportunities. So I believe that.
And how do you build structures to implement that? I imagine that you said you don't.
The way that what you don't do is create the same thing for everybody, which would be the equality approach. Like everybody gets the same thing.
But that's not equality of opportunity, because let me see if I can find there's a picture that demonstrates this like perfectly, where there's some like it's like 4 kids on the bench, not bench, looking over a fence, where there's one tall kid, he could just see over it. There's 3 different levels of like short kids, in which some of them need different not viewpoints, like stepping stools to be able to see over the fence in general. Where the opportunity is just they're just seeing over the fence. Some of them need more, some of them don't need anything. Like the idea is just being able to get, and for me, seeing over the fence is just a quality education. That to me is the opportunity. We want the equality of opportunity. I'm not talking about equal across the board, because that still wouldn't make sense. Like, go ahead, Johnny. I think you muted yourself. You muted. I'll toss to you.
So again, I'm speaking under the premise of, if we're talking this idea of equality, that is what equality means. It means we got a piece of bread and I break it down 4 ways. You get a quarter, Johnny get a quarter, I get a quarter, Trey get a quarter. That's equality.
Okay, my bad. So for you to make this make more sense, equity would be way better, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, this is like, when I hear equity, that means like ownership or like a stake. Like, all right.
So
this is why I said the E word, DEI is my least favorite word in the whole equation. Like, because
but are you taking like the definition of a phrase or like the individual part of it? And because equality of opportunity is a like phrase that has its own definition.
Because equity doesn't mean we all have the same stake.
I'm trying to, to me, it sounds like we're getting to like a semantic conversation where we don't even disagree.
My whole thing saying it might be semantics, but I prefer non-discriminatory opportunities over the word equality for the following reasons.
But I guess when you say non-discriminatory opportunities doesn't like talk to the lack of like resources for Black, because of everybody has public school opportunities. So if everybody has public school opportunities, and that's non-discriminatory because everybody can go, and it just depends on where you're at.
But that's what I was gonna say.
Like at the end of the day, that still ends up with the system that we have right now. And I guess I would say.
Can I hop in there? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, that's what I was gonna say. As far as like, I said equal, but I meant equity, because like you might have to spend more money in the neighborhoods that don't have the tax dollars to fund the same opportunities that like a Myers Park do, and that's where like you might have to spend a little more tax dollars in West Charlotte versus the tax dollars you spend in Dilworth, just because of the
to equal out to have the same quality of education.
But the goal is for those kids in West Charlotte to have the same opportunity to be something, no matter how much it costs, no matter even if you have to spend a little more for them to have that opportunity. You want them to have the same opportunity as that kid from Myers Park. And
I don't think, but this is what I'm saying. Like the reality is where you are born has an impact on like your ability to get from one place to the next. It's like the thing you don't have control over.
It shouldn't when it comes to public schools. When it comes to public schools, it should not. Like,
I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying simply is that you're speaking from an idealistic standpoint that somebody from a poor neighborhood should have the same opportunity as someone from a wealthy neighborhood. Absolutely. When in reality, that's just not where is that ever like so if you look at a city like Charlotte, for example.
Well, I'm talking about opportunity based on merit though. Like,
but we're not talking, we're not talking merit. You're talking about just period. You're not saying merit. You're not saying the smart kids like, or that. You're just saying period.
So let me see if I can kind of cut the conversation a little bit.
I understand. Like,
so it sounds like you're talking about like what is in comparison to what we should strive for, and you're saying that what it is currently is the system of like the fact that equality doesn't exist inside the form in which we're talking about.
Right. Correct? What could be unburdened by what has been, for lack of better words.
I don't know if I would frame it the way that Trey just said it, but I don't know if I understand what that means.
What I said was that a fair representation?
Say it again.
That damn, I kind of lost my train of thought.
But you were saying as far as the money being in everyone having equal funding, and then like for the people in the certain areas to have
well, yeah, it sounded like you.
It's like you want the school in the poorest part of the city to be just as good as the public school in the richest part of the city. Is the argument y'all understand? Correct?
I think that's what to strive and push for equality of outcome. Yes, that's what that would be. The answer would be yes.
There shouldn't be bad schools in poor neighborhoods,
right?
Or else they're always going to be.
But you also said at the same note. You also said at the same note there are certain challenges in one of these neighborhoods that might require more investment because the other neighborhoods have certain things in place that might make it easier to create like you said that, right?
Yeah, that's the part of making it like equal of opportunity. Like you want to give them the same education. So
you can't. My whole point is you can't have the same educational experience if we have vastly different home lives. At the end of the day,
the government
but the school could be the same. Like I think that this would like
but
of course like you control for all the things you can't.
Ooh, that's my hope. It's like the educational experience is school. It's
right. But I think that like
your educational opportunity shouldn't be better just because you're at Myers Park.
But it's not just you're isolating.
But that's where the word opportunity
just to school. It's about home support. It's about infrastructure.
What if you pay? But G, like that's where the opportunity part comes in. Like it doesn't mean because what you're speaking about probably would lean more to the idea of like pushing for equality of outcome, where because of home support and different things, we're not saying that that's possible. But in general, like giving those same kids the variable that can be controlled from like the state and local government / the federal would be the equality of opportunity inside the school system, which would be education. So if you get the same version of an education, obviously it's going to differ. But at least you were giving the proper opportunity.
But
what about
based on the schools?
Because like saying family, like that's an isolated variable outside of what we're talking about. That's
it's
different
not, not to me, because at the end of the day,
if we're talking about like a school, like your education and the quality of education that you're getting from that school.
Right, so answer this for me. When it comes to education and so forth and so forth, are the kids who can afford test prep more likely to do better on, say, SATs, ACTs? Are they more likely to be more prepared for those tests than the kids who can't afford those resources?
For sure.
Okay. But every kid should be able to have test prep.
That could be, but here's my thing. I think that test prep, even if we use that as another variable, I think the baseline should be the quality of the education. So if you can do better and your parents can pay for that, that's great. But if there's a baseline of what the base education is, and that's the same, I think that's fire. If you can pay for tutoring, if you can pay for test prep or any of these other things, that then becomes down to you.
But do the kids in Charlotte take different end of year tests, or do everybody take the same EOGs or EOCs?
Now you're talking about you'll see how like you're switching tests, but that's outcome now. But now you're talking about like equality of outcome.
But even the curriculum, unless I'm missing something, is one side of Charlotte teaching the GABCs and then the other side of Charlotte teaching a different textbook? Like, am I missing?
No, I think that like the quality of teachers, the top quality of facilities, the quality of resources, the quality, like even books to an extent, like it's just different.
It is different. I agree.
Right. But that's what we're saying. Like just making that the baseline. Not saying like obviously if you have the money as a parent, you should be able to pay for your kid to get tutoring. You should be able to pay for them to get test prep. You should make sure that they fed before and after school. But the thing is that we're talking about like the quality of education that our tax dollars are providing for our populace. And I think that inside a public setting should be, if we're looking to make the best citizens as possible, should be equal across the board.
But you're defining equal by like, okay, if you want to define equal by everybody get the same textbooks, sure. Everybody get the same.
Well, I try, but I talked to exactly what I was talking about. So like
these aren't equal.
Right. But education. So and this is why I'm saying like we can either use the word equal or equity, but if we're talking about the same concept, I guess to me like it becomes like pulling straws. What I'm talking about is equality of opportunity, the entire the entire concept. But we're talking about making sure that they get the same quality of education across the board. Regardless, for some of them that might take more and some of them might take less. That's all I'm saying. So not equal in a sense of that they all are going to get the exact same teachers and the exact same textbooks, because of, again, if you start at a lower spot, it might take more. You might have to pay teachers more to go teach at West Mech or something like that.
Thank you. That's what I was about to say, bro. Give them some hazard pay or some shit like that. Not for lack of words, but
what we're talking about is like the difference in money when it comes to creating true equality versus equity of opportunity. And like the equity is, of course, it's going to cost more to educate the people in West Charlotte versus the kids from Dilworth. Right, but we should be willing to spend the money.
It's a good investment
in West Charlotte.
Less people in prison, but they want people in prison
in Dilworth, and we should be willing because it's all of our tax dollars, and so we should. It should.
Yeah, but Johnny, you say it's all of your tax dollars, but the way that say the people who make the most money in the city would look at that would look at like all of our tax dollars are supporting the bulk of these budgets.
Cool.
So
I guess like what we are talking about, what do you believe in? What do you think is like the best plan of action?
Democracy. Like if you're in the top 1%, of course, a lot of your money is going to be spent to support the other people because you're in the top 1%. That's what democracy is about. Like, and to act like of course, if you in Myers Park and you're making $10 million a year, some of your tax dollars is going to be going to fund the kid in West Mech when the average salary is $50,000 a year. Of course, that's how it's gonna work. And if you ain't with that, we shouldn't be part of the same country. But like, of course, if you making in the top 1%, some of your tax dollars is gonna go to fund people that's not in your same class, and we should be okay with that. But especially if we want a fair society, we want a society that's fair across the board.
Hey, that's what we're pushing for. Yeah.
If you top 1%, of course, some of your tax dollars going to West Charlotte. It's how it should be. Why else? Why wouldn't it go there? If you in the top 1% or the top 2%, like, but that's what democracy is about. And people like we gotta understand. We all in this together. Black, white, left or right, red or blue. We all in it together. And the more we start working together, the better it is for everybody.
That's your opinion, though.
But that's how it could work. That's a small opinion. I see how it works in Charlotte. We could do like if we could do that, they could do it across the country.
But like where in the country has like I guess is what my whole point is like.
All right, so are you hedging like your conversation on if it's realistic, or if you think that that's what you will be for, or if it has happened yet?
It don't exist. It don't exist. It don't.
I don't think that anybody's arguing that it exists, though. I guess that's where I'm at. Like
Yeah,
we're not
so
saying that it exists,
and it won't exist.
That I set up could that?
Okay,
exist?
so in essence, are you saying that equality of opportunity won't
exist that way?
That it won't exist, so we shouldn't strive for it?
Based off of how y'all are defining it, I don't see it as a realistic goal.
Damn, you don't think that they should pay?
Not
like,
should. See, you're telling me
under-
what I think should. I'm not talking about my emotional what I think
He's saying
should.
would.
I'm
He's
saying
All right, so
realistically.
the question is,
I
do
don't
you
think
believe
that'll
in
happen.
Bro, what is emotional? We're talking
Because we're talking about
discussing-
what we feel should happen. That's
No,
it. That's
nobody
like we're
said
talking about
feel.
feelings. Like what
So, G,
should
I-
and shouldn't. I'm not.
We're
I'm
G,
not
I-
strategizing.
I'm not.
Oh, my bad.
I want to be clear. I'm not
Strategizing,
arguing
bro.
what should and shouldn't. I'm talking about what I think realistically is not like possible. I'm not saying
Okay.
what should be. I said ideally speaking. Yeah, that sounds great. In reality, I don't think that's a realistic, attainable goal.
Okay.
I'm trying to understand how it's emotional for us to strategize a better way. Like that's not emotional at all. That's not logical.
When you make statements like we should or I feel, that's from a place of like.
I didn't say you said I feel. I said we should.
You said we should. We should is a feeling. That's like we should
No,
do something.
should isn't a feeling.
It is what you should be.
All right, so
you're expressing
again,
a feeling.
fellas, maybe I'll restate the question to get better clarity, because this came from a question that I asked, and we can see what if it should be an emotional response, or say if it the question was, do you believe in equality of opportunity?
I do. Who got it?
I'm confused by the question. Do you believe that that's what we should have?
Yes, that's what we should push for.
Yes. I do logically, not emotionally. I do think that that's what we should have. If we want to, otherwise, like if we have one side of town where they don't have any opportunity, and then we don't give them opportunity, then we know what the outcome will be. So logically, if we want to cultivate productive citizens, we need to what we talked about, the buffalo and the cow. You know what I'm saying? The buffalo is
running away from it,
running to the storm, and that means addressing the people who are the most at risk. Logically, I don't think that's emotional.
The buffalo. Hey, you're
stuck on being emotional. So let me clarify the term. What I'm saying is, when you say what things should be, you're speaking about your personal feeling on the matter. Do you agree with that statement? If you say this should be like this, you're talking about how you personally feel something should be.
I don't think so, because what if I say that if a person is going to be healthy, then they should drink water and not drink sodas?
Is that an absolute statement? Are you telling me non-healthy people don't drink any soda?
Yeah.
I know some healthy people that drink.
Mad healthy people drink soda.
No, I said you should drink water.
They got
but they
pimples,
drink
though.
water too. Because if you should not just drink soda. You should not only drink water. How about that?
Being healthy is more than just boiled down to drinking water. Do you agree?
Okay, how about this? You shouldn't only just drink soda. You should not just drink soda. Is that emotional or is that logical?
Amen. That's logic.
That's how you.
So I said what you should do, but that's not an emotion, is it?
That's how you personally feel. Is my point.
It's because of how I feel. It's not because of that's
kind of a logical fact, G.
But I'm making a point of, when you talk about how something, because like you're talking about the reality that water is something that everybody needs to survive. So if you want to go to like that extreme to prove a point,
water made it confusing.
No,
you
because
should not only drink soda.
But that's not that's not now you're not speaking from your personal opinion. That's a scientific fact. That's a scientific fact, though. That's a scientific
I'm just using your
fact.
logic. You said if I say should, that's a feeling.
If
I'm
you're
using an example where I'm saying should in this logic.
But you're speaking about something that should when it's not. You actually should, and that's the reality. What you're talking about with water isn't your personal opinion. What you're talking about as it relates to schools is how you think they should be, not how it actually is. That's how it actually is. You shouldn't drink a lot of soda. It's two completely different things. But if you want to compare apples to cotton or whatever the case, we can do that. But they're not nowhere near in the same ballpark. Like, I think you can admit you're going to you're talking about a scientific biological fact that you should not consume nothing but soda. Like that is a scientific fact. As it relates to this idea of equal opportunity in schools, my position is, should it be? Ideally, it should. Period.
That was the question, G.
And I said, I don't like the term equal opportunity. I prefer non-discriminatory, meaning I don't think you should be stopped from getting to opportunities because of your race, class, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't expect every opportunity to be the same, though. That's like, I don't expect every opportunity to be the same. I don't expect to be rejected from these opportunities because of my background, race, et cetera, et cetera. Like, every opportunity is not going to be equal. It's just what it is. Every college ain't the same. Every high school ain't the same. Every middle school ain't the same. Every preschool ain't the same. Like none of these things are equal. And none of these things should be discriminating against people just because they don't have as much money.
Right,
just
but
because
then
they're of a different background. That's what I believe in.
But the part of that conversation would be like equating the same as equal. Because of inside that same sentence, you're saying the same and equal, but equal could mean that you get something different.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
I think pretty much all we were talking about is should these underfunded schools get more funding so we can break this cycle. Yeah. And I don't think that's an emotional thing. I think that's just like straight up.
All right, fellas, we about to go in a circle in that part. All right. So let me ask this next question. As we continue,
I think you're giving schools too much faith to think that if we give schools more money, that's going to like be the answer for black community.
I think what if we did, like, the teachers who are in underprivileged school, let's say they got incentivized majorly, like financially, based on the number of students that were able to read at school level. I mean, read at grade level. Do you think that we would see a better outcome?
Then they made the class sizes smaller.
Yeah. Do you think that might
I think that there will be a beneficial outcome. You also make sure that all the schooling has proper air conditioning, and the kids get fed at least breakfast, lunch, and then a snack to go home. I think you'll get way better outcome. I think statistically, it shows that if you fulfill those three things.
And what if you also incentivize the parents that if your kids read at school level, then you get read at grade level.
I was talking about parents and it didn't matter. So, but I agree we should be talking about the home as it relates to the educational experience. When I brought that point up earlier, it didn't matter.
I'm just talking purely funding. If we add funding strategically to these schools that are underperforming, then there would be
here's the thing: if you give these underperforming schools money, it doesn't mean they're going to get better quality teachers.
I said strategic funding, not just giving more money strategically. Like the example
so what's the
gave where,
so what
like
what
I just said.
Like if you pay teachers way more that had higher qualifications, whether you're talking about like board certifications, master degrees, the track record of kids performing
performance based on performance.
Yeah, like teachers don't necessarily get paid the best anyway. So let's say you put 20K on top of their salary to go over to these schools to help, and these are proven quality teachers, board certified, and have higher education degrees.
And based on their performance, they get incentivized.
And they have smaller class sizes than what they already have. I think that you'll see a difference.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe we won't.
Funding.
But these are hypotheticals. I don't know if we're necessarily going to.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we won't.
So what you're saying, they're inherently dumb, and even no matter what we do to them, like they're just gonna be stupid.
Is that what it sounds like?
I'm saying you said maybe. So if it doesn't work, and we give
because I think y'all are undervaluing how important. I think y'all are undervaluing how important a home life is to a full educational experience. You can spend 8 hours in a classroom with the best teachers in the world, but then when you go home to certain environments, a lot of that stuff will just slip through the cracks. Is my general point. So if we want to, if we really want to focus on improving the educational experience, it's not going to be isolated by strategic funding in the schools. Like you talked about.
But do you think that
incentivizing parents? That's more along the lines of like, okay, now we're talking about really improving the outcomes long term, because a lot of education is in the home and how the parents emphasize the importance of the education. That is a fact.
But to me, this is me personally. I think that's a different variable. If we wanted to make that equal as well, I think that's a different conversation. By incentivizing it XYZ, but also talking about another controllable variable, which would be the education that they get when they're inside the actual school system. I think that's its own thing. Like if we loop everything together, I think that it just becomes even bigger of a problem, in which it becomes almost even more impossible to solve. Where if you're breaking it down inside more tangible spaces, i.e. school, if we can make this part of the education equal. Again, I think that Trey, I hadn't thought about it, but like tax incentives or funding towards parents that are inside, whether it's inside, like let's say these are all kids that get free lunch. There's tax incentives if your kids attend school at this level of a rate, like let's say a 90% rate. And if they're making above like an 85 inside their classes, you're in
grade level.
Huh?
I would say read at grade level, because then they're going to start getting on the teachers for flunking them. But reading at grade level is something that you can't.
Yeah, like
gotta be something that. Like,
I bet. So I would just say like tangible outcomes. Like if they're able to reach these tangible metrics and outcomes, then like you have incentives as a parent as well. I think that's another fire thing. But I also think that that's a tangible, because there's so many other things we talk about home life that you start getting into. Because then we can talk about like housing, we can talk about neighborhood, like it's so many other things. But
I guess that's my whole point when we talk about this idea of like the school itself is just one piece of the equation to the education. Like it's a small, and it's a critical piece. But when you look at holistically how people do well to position themselves for higher education, it's a lot outside of what's done in the classroom.
I don't disagree. All I'm saying is that I think that would be a good spot for there to be equality at when it comes down to quality of this thing. Obviously, because all right, we circling, but to me, I think that when you get to the other parts, that's when we start talking about outcome.
But this is
I don't think
that, I'm saying, I don't disagree that it should be that way. Like what it should be.
This is what we also kind of like
I'm saying, what
we don't have like this big disagreement outside of like the semantic part.
I don't think it's realistic. That we're using. I don't think it's realistic. I just don't think it's realistic.
Well, but that's where you're getting into like what we think would work and what you believe is realistic, and which I think we're all stopping at what we think would work. The challenges that comes to making it realistic, we're not necessarily speaking to at the moment.
And I'm not 100% positive that alone would work is also my point, because of the other reasons.
But I don't think that any of us is saying that alone would work either. Trey, are you saying that alone would work?
No, I just think it will improve things, though. I don't think I wouldn't make that argument yet. That's more of a you know how you start saying like alls and every and things like that. I'm just simply saying that if we incentivize the parents and we incentivize the teachers versus just giving them like compensating them regardless of performance, then that would be that's what I'm saying. Like if a parent knew that like they could get this tax break if their baby could read at grade level, I think that parents would be more likely to be concerned about it. It's unfortunate that we have to do that, but you know.
I mean, I think that sometimes when you spitball like solutions, like you got to throw a bunch of things at the wall and see what stick. I'm not mad at that. But fellas, let me push it forward. Call in, we coming soon. All right, so we're talking about DEI. We've kind of talked around some of like the tenets of it intentionally. So let me ask y'all this: does it need to stay? Should it be reformed? Should it be eliminated? DEI. What's y'all feelings?
Get that out of here expeditiously, bro. Because
but you believe in diversity, representation, and equality of opportunity. It sounds like you with like the
help me understand
of DEI. I'd imagine even if you said it reformed, why would you want to eliminate the thing that stands for everything that you're pushing for?
Okay, I'll take that back. If we can reform it, we can keep it. But as it stands right now, get it out of here.
Okay.
Because if we got that out of here right now, we wouldn't have to worry about. Because just last week they were talking about how non-FBAs outperform us. Well, they do that at the schools that we built and with things that we fought for. So if we're all at equal playing field, then they have to get out.
Restate that topic again. Restate.
Like last time we were talking about how non-FBAs outperform us. They earn more money. They do better in school. All these other things. A lot of times it's at the schools that we built. So if we take away, and it's using scholarships and set asides that we fought for, and even with the gender stuff, like a lot of times they don't care if it's a black man or black woman, it's just a black person. So a lot of times, black men are the least to benefit for a lot of these things. And a lot of people that do benefit from these things that primarily black men fought for, they kind of thumb their noses up with the product of a lot of black men's hard work to get that. So if they aren't able to benefit from the fruits of black men's labor, then it's kind of like addition by subtraction. You know what I mean? Like you take away what's given to them, and then now we're on the same playing field, and I think we'll be able to outperform them at that point. Does that make sense?
And you say outperform who?
Like I think that without the set asides that Black Americans fought for, there would be no non-FBAs I won't say there would be there would be a lot less non-FBAs who outperform.
Do you think that the non-FBA black people are even like a fraction of the biggest problem when we're talking about like corporate? I'm just saying, like we're talking about corporate America and who's taking the
Ivy League. What about like Ivy League colleges and stuff? Because I think
even if we go. Go ahead.
My fault. But if you talk about Ivy League schools, I think they're disproportionately represented in those numbers there, and they're also disproportionate. This is just non-FBAs in general, like people that are with immigrant or black people with immigrant backgrounds are disproportionately represented in these corporate jobs and in these universities, these Ivy League schools, and with scholarships and things like that. And then they get these things, and they're like, "Oh, y'all are lazy. Y'all don't work like us." And it's like, okay, well, if we take this all away, let's see who work hard.
Right, but I guess this would be the pushback that I give. It'll be the same things that the Asians just found out, where
we're not benefiting though. Asians,
but let me. They're not benefiting. They were shitting on black folk because they thought that their numbers was going to go up as soon as affirmative action ended. Just to find out affirmative action ended and the numbers went down in Ivy because of it's the good old boys club. And like now they're upset because now they're niggas. That's my point. No. All right. So, but my point is that if our representation is low already, it's not going to go up. Even the best performing,
go up. I said theirs is going to go down, just like the Asians went down. So it's like
it's like spiking your nose. What is it? Cutting your nose to spite your face. Whatever that saying is.
It's kind of like the crabs in the bucket type mentality. Like
Trey, you above that. Come on, bro. Come on.
Like you know what I mean? If y'all trying to get out the bucket with DEI, if y'all trying to get out the bucket with DEI, then how about no DEI? You in the bucket with us, every man for himself.
But if that means less quality opportunity in general for black people, like FBA, also, you just saying fuck them,
bro. If we can't go down no more, the only people that's gonna go down is them. So bam.
No, but we
Equal
could
playing
go
field.
down more.
Nah,
That's what I'm saying. Like
I don't
so
think
if,
we can. We're
Okay.
we already benefit the least from these programs. They
And with-
benefit the most. So cut
FB,
off my
like
nose to spite my
FBA,
face. Yeah.
but that's also not true. FBA, well, non-FBA black people don't benefit the most out of like
Yes, they do. Disproportionately, they benefit.
of DEI programs. This
Yes.
is not factual at all. All
It
right,
is
so
definitely
That is fact. That is a fact, though. That is a fact.
all right. I'll
Because
look
when
at-
you say
again,
non-FBA, that includes Asians.
no, he's talking FBA black people.
Well, I'll include them. No, I'll include them.
No, he
too.
said no. That's not what I'm talking about.
Q, let me
I'm
walk it
speaking
back
about.
because I don't have to make that argument. I can still make my point with G's argument.
Oh no! All right, so
Benefits
I
other
think, but I think
minorities.
that's a different argument. You were talking about non-FBA black people
Well, I don't wanna do
benefiting
that.
the most.
I'll take that back because I don't have to. I do believe that, but I don't. That's unnecessary for my.
But
point.
the thing is that the numbers are so exaggerated for white women that it's not even a good
Okay, that's
argument
another
to
one.
make.
I don't want them to benefit either. So,
I get that, but my and this is where I'm saying, like, why would you focus? Why would you focus on them? Where like it's more big, it's bigger fish to fry.
Focus on who, like black non-FBAs?
Like, and like there's so many other people like non-FBAs that's not specifically Caribbean.
Okay, cool.
Or Africans.
I'll drop that. Just for the sake of argument, because I don't need to make the argument to make that my point. If it benefits non-FBAs, including white women, including Asians, including everyone that's not I'll say non-FBA men to be specific. If it benefits everyone else more than us, then burn it down. But
my next question then does come to you. And these are a couple things. And matter of fact, like I told y'all, I was speaking to a person that works inside, corporate America, and they do DEI trainings. And one of their questions that they had was, what do you see as a better alternative if you say no? Right. And I'll pose that in a second, but I'll also say that they did run down a couple things where, yes, the biggest beneficiary of DEI by a long shot is white women. That's who gets the lion's share of the shit.
So and criticize besides black men.
Who I would criticize besides
the only people you criticize besides black men is white women.
I don't like white men like that. I don't know.
I mean, that's a given, but I'm saying like other than white men, the only people you criticize.
Like you want me to just go down like the racial tree and just like try and keep.
No, I'm just saying like
I criticize pretty much everybody. Like if I had an issue, like what you call them, small hats. I got
you're not criticizing. You don't criticize non-FBAs, and you don't criticize black women either. I criticize everybody.
All right. I definitely have criticisms for black women.
Podcast, that was my one thing is I was not going to criticize black women.
Yeah, we was on the other side of it. Yeah, I don't have a problem. It's just where you had your bet set.
You a Democrat.
It ain't that. It ain't that. It's just
because that's what it is.
But the funny thing, like that's not where I stand at. It's just where you had your bet set. Just be in spots where I
ain't gotta criticize black women to stand on my business as a man.
So are they perfect?
I never said they was perfect.
Okay, then why can't you criticize them?
Because it's a public platform. I got my.
Okay. Well, you can criticize black men on the public platform, but you can't. How you won't dare criticize a black woman?
Because I'm a black man.
Oh, but you can't criticize.
Why would I criticize black women as a black man?
So do black women criticize? Do black women criticize black men?
Huh?
Do you see black women criticize black men all the time?
I don't care about that.
Johnny said he don't follow the lead of women. Okay, Johnny.
Nigga, what you talking about?
Johnny is a patriarch. He said he don't follow women.
Shit, nigga.
Okay.
Fuck what they do.
I got you. So we're supposed to take all the criticism, but they're above criticism.
Hey, black women know my
patriarch or a simp?
They hear it loud and clear. When I criticize black women, they hear it loud and clear.
No, you said you don't. You said you don't do it.
I ain't got to come on here and say it. Black women know my criticism about them. I ain't got to come on here and dog them.
That's what I'm saying. The biggest
black
women know,
and black women respect me. I ain't, Like,
That's what I'm
because
saying,
I
bro.
love black women. But
There would be no gynocracy without the gynocrat black men. So I don't even blame black women for it.
ain't no gynocracy.
But you say they're not even attracted to these niggas. So which one is it?
I didn't say that they're attracted to them. I said that the niggas preserve the gynocracy. That doesn't mean that they get play. That just means that they work for free.
Well, how they preserve it, and it's not even what the black gynos want. Like, bro, everything not adding up. I'm just saying, it's not adding up. It's not adding up.
I was saying I ain't gotta criticize black women to stand on my business as a black man, and I can criticize black men because that's what I am. I ain't got.
So we get all the criticism.
We can criticize everybody. We can criticize everybody.
Thank you.
I don't mind criticizing everybody.
Man, look, I let it fly. Like I said, pause wherever it need to go.
Will y'all be hedging y'all bets that it just be places that to me I just don't agree with? But yeah, I got criticism of black women, Asian women, Latino women.
I don't know enough about other women. I don't even know enough about other women.
Trey, you didn't even let us get to the exotics early. You stopped it before we get there.
Oh no, like you can't talk about Latinas.
Yeah, Trey stopped us. Not Lena the Latina.
Because the point was that it was about the simping. It wasn't about the exotic women. I don't care if she was black. If he was simping, he'd still be wrong.
Facts. I ain't mad at you.
No, I think you go even harder though if it was a black girl. I think your smoke would be like way more raging. Like I think you giving him a little bit of slack.
The Remy Ma situation.
Now Pap stood on business. What you mean?
He was simping a long time to get to this point though.
Because he held her down? Is that what you're saying?
After he got cheated on, he was like held her down this whole time. After she was like, you know what I'm saying, got in all that trouble, you know what I'm saying, took him to son.
But I don't know if that's what happened. I thought he said that they've been separated for a while. She just wanted to keep up the public persona and not get the divorce at the moment. But he was fucking shorty, Clarissa Shields. He knocked out homie, I guess.
He clearly liked tough chicks. Like,
nah, that's also
like that's just lame.
This nigga like them. He must like the box for foreplay type shit. Like wrestle with his chick before he get to the draws. Because I don't even understand. Like he like him rough.
Yeah, straight
like,
up.
I like a chick that could throw a little bit. Clarissa Shields.
It's so many jokes for me to make right now, Johnny, but I'm gonna stop.
Hey, yo, but y'all made up a good ass point. Y'all made a good ass point in the chat though. If you only criticize something that you care about, and because the opposite of love is indifference, right? Because if I hate something, like if I hate the guy now, because I want to get rid of it, because I want us to do better as a people. That's why I can't get past this. Because it's a big problem.
Love black women.
Because I love black women. That's why I'm like so critical. Because
say it again.
Man, I love black women.
You must love you. So is that why you love the Tethers too?
I said but a foundational black American women.
I'm just saying, like we love the things we criticize, right?
I don't really talk too much about Tethers, honestly, unless they call up.
Okay, all right. You got it.
Like, have we talked about?
You got it.
The only time we talked about Tethers today was when we talked about who benefits from DEI, and I didn't even call them Tethers. I
think you did good. I will admit, I do.
This was a
you did good. I admit that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think about them until they call up and talking trash, and then I respond to them, and then y'all sent for Tethers just like y'all sent for the black women, which is all good. It's just y'all are comfortable being in a position where you get to take on the shots, but you just want to turn the other cheek, whether it be a Tether, whether it be a black woman. But for me, nah. If it's coming dished at me and I got a response to it, I'm gonna stand up for myself, no matter who it is.
10 toes down, step on the
straight up.
Step on that.
Because I put a Queen Mother Goddess in the chat. She was talking about all that accountability stuff. I was like, man, that's a sister right there.
But I think she was from Haiti.
Damn,
that's fine. That's fine. I'll put some non-FBAs. An on-code non-FBA is worth 2 off-code FBAs.
And just making sure an on-code non-FBA can be a Queen Mother Goddess.
Yeah, on code. If you on code, I'm with it. If you black and you on code, that I put that over lineage. Honestly,
over lineage.
If you are on code, then I can't say
lineage.
nothing on you. Code over, yeah. That's what Pan-Africanism was supposed to be.
Okay.
My black ass lineage ain't gonna go with that.
Okay.
I'm pure blood FBA Trey.
All right, so just making sure.
I ain't going with code over lineage.
I don't know if we've kind of derailed it a little bit, but I guess I'll ask.
I got the lineage.
G, stay, reformed, eliminated. DEI.
Yeah, we gotta get it out, man. We gotta get it out. Like we said, you know, it sounds nice in theory, but in reality, in terms of how it's been implemented, who gets the benefit from it, I can't say that it's really helped our community as a whole. Like when you look at like just the general data, I don't really see how it's helping our people overall relative to some other communities. So yeah, I don't think it's helping us, and I don't think it was really even, you know, brought up to help us. I think it was just another one of these games they like to play with us, act like they're doing something for us when they already got the game plan on how to keep it, you know, keep it shut down. So yeah, man, get it out of here and focus on self.
Heard you. Johnny.
What's the question? Repeat it again.
Oh, DEI. Should it stay, be reformed, or be eliminated?
I'm gonna go more reform. I mean, we know the purpose of it. The intent ain't always worked out, but I think if we reform it, because I think we have to reform it. I think the intention of it is good. The execution has been bad, so that means you have to reform. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Nah, I dig it. And so Trey, this will be to y'all. I think he said reform. What's the alternative if we are going no DEI? I think that a lot of the pro-black conversations end up revolving around finding and evening out starting spots for black people in America in general. Whether it's like the reparations where you got to give us what we're owed. We're talking about like, again, DEI and equity of opportunity, or like however you would want to frame a different version of a conversation. It typically revolves about evening out a previous advantage that was given. So if you're saying no DEI, what would you say should be an alternative in its space?
Yeah, you answered the question. Reparations, bro. I keep that. We can get the call. Reparations, bro. Like, cut.
And so if we do get reparations, then everything else is like good after that.
Bro, if we got reparations, man, we not working no more. Like, we're not going to work for them no more. We starting our own business like immediately, bro. Like straight up. Like people that have investment ideas, they're gonna go ahead and start investing. That's why they're not giving us reparations. They thought all we're gonna do is go spend it with them. Then they would have been gave us the money back. But they know as soon as we get the money, we're gonna do just like the Black Wall Street era, you know, the Durham too, and all what was it not Williamsburg, but what's
about Tulsa?
Wilmington,
Greenwood,
North Carolina, and then and all the places in Florida, all these thriving black communities that it'll be popping in no time, man. Like, so if we got reparations, we would care less about DEI. They're gonna want to get DEI to get in the businesses that we start. It's gonna be like reverse DEI.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with what Trey said. I do think, like, ultimately, if we get the reparations, then it puts us in position to do the thing. And I think regardless of reparations, we should be doing over DEI, which is creating our own institutions so we don't have to rely on DEI initiatives. You feel what I'm saying? So we need to make sure that
Honestly,
like I said, I've always been on this radical idea of the devil, with Charles Blow, of all the black folks moving to the South, creating that community, and then from there you can use black dollars to do black things.
and here's one thing. Here's one thing. Like if we do get the reparations and we're able to communicate, DEI will actually be something that would be detrimental to us at that point.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying, because it's like if you got a 60%, if your business is 90% black, the DEI could be like, well, we're a country 60% white.
And
why
so
you don't got 60% white man working at your business?
So, but that's why we got to look at what's our true goal. Are we trying to take it over and run this shit ourselves, or are we just trying to be equal?
No, that's why I say that's why we need our own. We're not really trying to be like nobody else. We're trying to build our own thing for our own people with our own dollars.
HBCU and let some white boys come into it. If you're trying to be
okay,
equal.
and I guess G, just making sure that the same stance that you had with like the equality of opportunity. So with reparations, you think that would be like the quickest, most feasible thing and realistic?
Not realistic, no. It's not the realistic, most quickest thing to attain, no.
Okay, but you think that will be an attainable thing that will lead to black liberation, and this is like the format to follow, or because again, like I guess I'm asking that inside, like if you're keeping that same framework of how you push back on like the equality of opportunity, I would love to hear like your alternative to what it would be inside like that same perspective.
So as it relates to reparations, I'm agreeing with Trey's point that if we get these reparations, it'll streamline some other things. As it relates to the reality of getting reparations, I do actually think that it's realistically something that is attainable for our culture. I don't think that's something that's going to happen, and I don't honestly, I don't know if that's going to happen in our lifetime, but I do think it's attainable for our culture. If I'm being honest, in terms of how I see reparations, because there's precedence for it. I've seen it before. It exists. Like I know that this is something that has happened and can happen.
So what is your alternative in our lifetime then?
So so if aside from reparations, what we can do is focus on establishing our own institutions as entrepreneurs in the community. Because if we have our own communities with the feedback loop of dollars flowing from one institution to the next, all within the same community, then that becomes almost the DEI program in itself. Because
how do you see us starting our own institutions? Where are we getting the capital?
Right.
So you gonna have to work with the whites. You gotta get.
But then that starts looping back into like a DEI type of thing.
Not necessarily. This is what I'm saying. Not necessarily
exclusion from or like equality.
But see, this is what I'm saying.
Proper representation within.
What I said was non-discriminatory opportunities. So I feel like if I can prove that I got denied something because of race, I should have the ability to follow up with legal action. If I can prove that I was discriminated against for opportunity.
Right. Like, but you said that in the framework of like, you also don't look at that as realistic. Like
I don't look at equal schools as realistic. More specifically, like when we talk about,
I guess but you said the solution that you seen, but also not realistic, was the non-discriminatory.
I've seen us have institutions here before. That's
no, I'm talking about like school. All right, my bad. So
I've seen black institutions exist.
So with schooling, you do think that it is feasible for us to have a like
we created schools, yeah.
Not just create schools, like having non-discriminatory equal opportunity as other people. Oh my bad, you don't like the word equal. Non-discriminatory. How else did you frame it?
As it relates to schools or what?
Yeah, like I can't remember
non-discriminatory opportunities. We shouldn't be discriminating or keeping me or somebody away from opportunity based off of that checklist of race, religion, etc.
And do you think that that's happening now with schools?
Private schools, yeah. more so.
But I guess we were framing this inside like the scope of like public.
Yeah, nobody's denying people access to public schools based off of
So it's non-discriminatory. All right, so you don't care about the quality just as long as you can get like go to school and stuff.
Yeah, because my thing is, if you want a different quality experience, you move to a like you have to go to where the opportunity is at the end of the day. Like if you want to act and you from Charlotte, you might have to move to Atlanta, my nigga, or you might have to move to New York. Like sometimes you got to go to where the opportunities are. You can't expect to have the same opportunities as everybody else.
I understand that. I imagine that you look at that differently as like a child who is a dependent upon their parents, who income level dictates what their opportunities could possibly be. And if we're talking about like have the same like access to non-discriminatory like educational levels, or non-discriminatory educational opportunities, you look
the
at
best way to have that is to have properly privately owned schools that will provide that education regardless of that parent's income. That's going to make sure that these kids get the resources they need because they're funded properly through our community. It needs to be community driven.
Okay, and you think that would be realistic?
More real, because I've seen it done. Yeah, we've seen these examples before.
So you've seen successful black private schools recently inside America, inside the black communities that have lack of resources.
So like, let's talk about like Hillside and Durham lacks resources, but do they not produce a lot of great black talent?
They do, but like when we talk about like test scores, when we talk about academic achievement across the board, when you take away, I forget they have early college there. So when you take that away and you just go with like the general,
no, they don't have early college at Hillside.
There's another
Hillside. There's a whole other school called like New Tech. There's a New
There
Tech.
we go.
Yeah, and there's like, but that's like a specialty type of school. But that's not technically Hillside though either. They're technically separate schools, separate principals.
Right. So when sometimes people kind of loop them in together, but when you take that away and you talk about like the educational outcomes of what Hillside does produce in general, it is different than when you go to I'm trying to think of like one of the not like a Riverside
or a Jordan, yeah,
or a Jordan, or a Jordan, yeah. But
I don't expect.
And you were talking about, and again, you were talking about inside you said a private sector inside. Like again, we're talking about solutions for low income black kids.
Hillside's not a magnet school. Whoever's talking, they don't understand. Like there's one school that's attached to Hillside called Hillside New Tech.
Yeah,
Hillside High School is a Durham public school. It's not a magnet school. They don't cherry pick anything. Steve, you don't know what you're talking about.
Again, we differentiated already. You're talking about he's more than likely talking about New Tech. But again, you're using Hillside as an example of a private school that could build,
a public school.
But no, your example that you said was more realistic than doing this inside a public school setting. Because again, like Hillside doesn't have great test scores.
I thought you asked me, have I seen public schools?
No, I was just talking about your example. You gave the example of it being done in a private sector, and you said that you've seen it done.
But so here's the thing. I've seen it done in our history. Is it being done currently, like at a high level? You're going to have to find small examples of like the dude who created a school locally in his community and he's educating kids. You talk about, say, I know we don't give Umar any credit, but you talk about, say, what Umar's trying to do. We're not. So what I'm saying is that we have seen in our history here successful black institutions. What we see today is not a reflection of what black people can actually do and have done in this country. That's more of my point. So if whatever brilliant mind comes to be, I do believe it is attainable for such mind to put something together, because there are working models that have worked in the past that I think could easily be adopted for a modern environment. Not easily, but it can be adopted for a modern environment. I think that's more real. I think that's actually more realistic.
Like later, yeah,
that's more realistic than expecting equal schools, because equal schools have never existed since schools have been created in America.
Again, I'm gonna save my rebuttal for we'll get it like a more into this conversation in the after show. But we got some people in the back end. So we're gonna pull up. We got 3 right now. I'm gonna put as we bring up our first one. I'll put the chat back in. Make sure y'all tap in. We got about 15 minutes left. Again, super chats, super thanks. I think some of the guys they usually put their cash apps in there. Make sure y'all show some love to the panel. FBA Trey, he has a nice little fan base. Go hit what is it, CassiusTrey? Make sure y'all show him some love for some of his talking points. Johnny, I forget what yours is. G-ish, you got yours. I ain't got it up there today, but they'll but all those things are available. But nonetheless, I'm gonna set the rules for the panel, and then we'll get to it. Again, we call this no ad hominems. Hop in. Let's talk about the conversation. Let's stay away from any insults, and let's have fruitful conversation. We have. I'll just kind of put it inside the order of where everybody pulled up at. Kamu, talk to us, brother.
I know, Kamu. What's up, Kamu?
What's good?
No, man, I just want to know who came up with this diversity equity thing. Because if it were to be a policy, I don't think it would benefit you the way you think it would. Because America as a nation, they could bring more, because it talks about equal opportunity for all. So if that were to be a policy, I don't know whether it's a policy or not, but if it were to be a policy, literally your government could bring people from China, could bring white people from Europe, and they would qualify for more opportunities just based off of the numbers that they make or they constitute in the entire product scheme of things. So I don't know who came up with this thing. I think it's a scam. What you guys need is a deliberate, definitive policy that speaks to Black beneficiaries. Obviously, call it FBA or whatever, but like people who build that country need a specific policy that would be directly beneficial to them without including everybody else. I think this DEI thing, whatever, it's a scam, and you will end up in smoke like we do. We have something called the BEE, triple BEE, it's broad-based economic empowerment. And when you look at the details, there's Indians involved there. Indians are being seen as Black people. They benefit as we do, which is a disservice to us. So I don't think you should fall for this nonsense. Whoever came up with it, you all should reject it.
Got you. No, I appreciate it. And the insight from kind of what those programs over in Africa, South Africa specifically, are doing. Kamu, you know the deal. I'm gonna take you to the back end. Bring you back up once we finish it. Appreciate the insight, brother. We got a legend. We got a
another heart hand. Pause,
Showing love, nigga.
We don't do it on hard hand.
Nigga, hey, nigga, are you really gonna talk about the code right now?
All right, listen, we bringing up this is one of the FBA legends. Again, I will put in no ad hominems. Again,
we can
stop.
We can talk about it.
Fellas, lock in. I got you.
What's good?
So yeah, again, no ad hominems, basic panel rules. First one, we got bring it to the back end. But this is an FBA legend. I done heard him mention in the names of replacing the panelists. I love my panelists, though. I can't go that way. But it's the homie. It's the dog. We ain't seen you in a couple weeks. Talk to us for the family.
Both time.
What's the word, man?
What's going on, brother?
What's good?
I can't call it. Hey, you know what though, man? You know why I fuck with y'all? Because my people come from the Carolinas, man. You know,
right.
I tell you what, though, Q, that nigga put some on your brain, though.
Okay.
And I hope you think about it, right? And peace to the homie Trey, man. Because you know what, though? You showed me something, right, that I have been accomplishing a long time. My shit is like very aggressive. You kind of like, you looked at that shit and you calmed it down and you made it happen. So good shit on that. Listen though, we don't need them niggas, man, for nothing. DEI, TI, you know, HBI, all that. That's all Africa. That's bullshit around the way. We don't need that. We don't need none of that diseases. None of that, nigga.
STI. I got you.
You know what I'm saying? We don't need none of that, man. Like, what you hold on, look. You seem like you scared to win. You seem like you scared to win by yourself. You scared to be self-sufficient. That's what it sounds like to me. Q.
Am I scared to be self? No, I kind of preach more so self-sufficiency more than
anything. No, fuck all that preaching shit. I'm talking about, are you scared to win by yourself?
Oh, my bad. That's what I apply on my lifestyle. Maybe it
doesn't matter. Are you scared to win by yourself? You preach. I mean, you talking out your mouth, but can you take it in?
My bad. I'm saying that I say it. But no, listen. What I'm saying is,
I'm saying in order to preach, you got to be taking knowledge and push it out at the same time. Circle,
right. My bad. Maybe I'm not answering it directly. So yes, I agree with your statement. What I'm saying is that what I say and what I do also align with what I say. So I agree. Like I'm not even.
You double talking, man. You kind of, I don't know. You kind of confused me right there. That's like trickery. What you saying? Are you saying that I do what I say and I say what I do?
That is exactly what I'm saying. It's no trickery.
Okay, cool. So I check it out.
I agree
right?
with your
so we
statement,
don't.
And then I also walk what I say.
Okay, so you walk how you talk it.
Yes, me personally. Yes.
So that means we don't need nobody else but us, right?
I believe that. I
CMB, we all we got, nigga. Really?
All we got.
Again, I come from.
That's how you feel, nigga? No. That's how you feel, nigga?
That nigga, I literally was just arguing with niggas like a week ago about this. It might have been on here.
You was on the homie head, man. You wasn't trying to. He had to. You know what? That nigga calmed himself all the way down. I'm like, damn. I respected that. He like, damn, this nigga still don't get it. He took his time with you, man.
Maybe. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but I am specifically.
I'm talking about the last show, man. That nigga took his time with your ass.
Yeah, that's what's up. But. right. But no, again,
what's all this pause shit, nigga? We ain't gay. We ain't gotta keep doing this pause shit, nigga.
To what you're saying, and
only nigga say pause is gay, nigga. We're not doing that shit no more.
I was like, that was crazy though.
Not as crazy as pinning niggas to walls and shit.
Hey, but
that was crazy.
Either you getting pussy out here or not, nigga. You ain't getting no pussy. What's up?
But nonetheless, for the family, we appreciate the commentary. I'm bringing to the back. Obviously,
that's it.
You know kind of how it works.
Cool.
Appreciate the commentary,
bro.
I want to know what he was talking about last week.
I don't know. I'm sure we'll figure it out a little bit. But nonetheless, we got another favorite. Unc, talk to us.
What's happening, everybody? Peace, everybody.
Yes, sir.
What's good? What's good?
Love you, Unc.
Yo, look. I'm tired. I know everybody's saying reparations gonna help everybody out, but I'm so tired of it because we already know it's not gonna happen in our lifetime. It's something that we probably need, and it's something that it's not. They're not gonna give it to us right now. So why can't the ones that of us who do have it? Why can't we give back? You know, or try to do something like that more than expect money from them. They're not gonna give nobody no reparations. Everybody keep talking about it, and if they do, the first thing is this right here. Think about this: if you living around a certain area and you look around and you see everybody around there that get that money, that money gonna go to waste in a lot of times. And it's sad to say, but it just is. Everybody don't have the mindset that you guys have. Everybody doesn't have that. And it's sad to say it, and the majority doesn't have the mindset you guys have. You know? And that's one thing with that. And then when you talking about going back and, giving an incentive to parents for free education, education is free. And as I said in the chat, it's sad. How you gonna give a parent an incentive when you have so many parents in lower income areas that doesn't read on school level their own self? That makes no sense. Why can't it just be to where the people are getting what they need to do and push their children to do the correct things, but they can't because most of these parents want to be friends with their kids or either scared of their kids. And that's just what it is. They don't care. They just basically use the school system as a babysitting system for them. And it's sad. It's a lot of things that goes on. There's things that's broken that need to get fixed. Everything isn't always, need to get going away, but it's ways that we can fix things. But that's just in my opinion on the small part of that, the DEI and all that. It's whatever to me with that. Things are gonna come to how they're gonna be for everybody, and with everybody seeing the way that the world is going, what are you doing about it? Mm-hmm. It's the whole thing. What are you personally doing about it? That's what we need. We need to do something. You need to do for self first. You can't do for nobody else if you're not doing for self. And everybody always, we need to do this together. No, we can't do this together. Get your own shit together. Then you worry about getting somebody else together. You can't be a fucked up individual and tell somebody else to be a shining star when you a piece of shit. That's just the truth on it. That's just how I feel.
No, I appreciate the commentary, Unc. Again, you know how it goes. I'm gonna take you to the back. If we got time afterward, bring everybody back up. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Another one. Part of the 5 a.m. crew. Don P. Talk to us, brother.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to the panel, man. Hey,
not much. Appreciate the support, brother.
No doubt, man. Y'all funny. I'll be roasting sometimes, man. But I'll come through, show love to the show, man. That's
sure.
what I do. What I want to say is this, man. Like the last caller who called up, you know what I mean? Like that's
again, no ad hominems. Stay focused.
All right, I'm roasting in the chat, but I would say this, man. Like you got to be my advice to the older black gentlemen and any older black gentleman, we gotta be careful with that type of talk when it comes to the young brothers, right? Because that's what's missing in our community, and it's for good reason. Like when an older head tell us something and we sense, and I don't mean this as an ad hominem, but this is what we perceive whenever they say something along those lines. We perceive fear. That's the only thing we think about is, you scared. That's the only thing we see in our eyes. All right, we're not finna listen to you. We're not finna talk to you. We're not finna following your lead or following your direction, whatever the case is. So if y'all think that's an ad hominem, I apologize. That's just where I'm coming from a sincere place. As far as like the whole DEI thing, I think we should get rid of that wholeheartedly. Like I don't believe in the whole programs to quote unquote give us a leg up, because like Trey said, they tend to use loopholes to give everybody else a leg up, and we only getting the crumbs from that pie. So I mean that's where I'm coming from with it. I mean, yeah. And as far as like everything else, man, I'm gonna just keep this short. I'm gonna show love to the show. I rock with y'all heavy. You know what I mean? Like I disagree with all of y'all on some things, but I understand I understand what the intent is, and that's important to me. So I'm gonna land with that.
I dig it, brother. Appreciate it. Again, you know how we do. Take you to the back end. I think that we probably we at 58 minutes. So we'll kind of close out the conversation. Obviously, y'all in the back end, y'all know. Stick around after the show. We will continue the conversation. But my bad. What'd you say, Johnny?
Now I'm gonna say this was a quick 3 hours.
Oh yeah. But nonetheless, I think that we've gotten into some really interesting tangents of like different versions of conversations when it deals with DEI, and I think that overall it has been productive. I think that we've explored a lot of different options, a lot of different solutions, and some reality checks also when it comes down to the road of what it takes and what it would take to actually exercise Black empowerment inside a bunch of different spaces, from school systems, the corporate world, XYZ. Again, shout out to the call-ins we had for the family. We had Camus, we had Ses Majid, we had Don P 914, but then even more so, shout out to the panel. We got G, follow him, G-ish podcast. We have Trey, FBA Trey, aka David Walker. Again, I don't know if he has like somewhere to follow him at, but again, find him 9:30 next week.
Find him in the comments
on his platform, but he tell y'all to subscribe and like because his ass be over here.
Because he our brother.
Nah, that's
follow Tariq Nasheed and donate to the museum. You know what I'm saying?
And New Black Media.
New Black Media. Yeah. Jason Black off of network.
Yes, sir. He put his Cash App in there. Johnny P, the host of the To Be Fair show. Catch us 4:30 on Sundays. Make sure y'all tap in. Again, with that said, I am Q. This has been a great conversation. Man, we avoided the ad hominems tonight. That's fire.
On a roll.
We doing better, fellas.
Yeah.
On a roll.
But nonetheless, we out. Peace.
It doesn't matter how you feel.